Whoa, guerrilla cricket. Whoa, guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
Well, it's the longest bilateral T20 international series since Malawi hosted Mozambique 3 years ago. The first time England have toured Pakistan in 17 years. Symbolically, the 7 games in 13 days take on an even more significance as the Muslim Moeen Ali leads England for the Karachi leg of the tour. And of course, everyone's squeezing in as much experience of the format as they possibly can ahead of another World T20 Championship. Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn, good dusk, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Guerrilla Cricket. I'm Gorilla Hendo, and I am joined first thing this afternoon, as it is in Sydenham, by 2 highly talented and interesting fellows, all the way from his weather cave in Western Australia. We have Messi Jez.
Hey, hello. I'm wondering who the highly talented and interesting people are.
Yeah,
He's coming on to them now.
Yeah, we are going to come. The other voice that you might have just heard, poking its way in, forcing its way in, is that of the Bish. It's Tony Bish at 1.
It is. I've noticed the players were singing their national anthem, I think.
Oh, national! I haven't heard that for ages. The national anthem. I really feel like a burst of the national anthem.
Well, I got a shock this morning. James Bond no longer works on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Oh, it's His Majesty's.
Oh, yes, yeah.
There you go. It's all been happening. Well, the other thing that's been happening is that there's been a toss, and England have won it. And I wonder if you can guess what they might have done having won that toss. Yes, you're absolutely right if you said where they're going to field first, because they are. Because they just want to see what the conditions are like. That's what Moeen Ali more or less said at the toss. Interesting lineup. Tony and I were talking on our way over here about who might come in to open. There's no Jason Roy, there's no Joss Butler, he's injured until we think the Lahore leg of the tour. And I've been talking Dawid Malan up to come move up to open, but he's still been left at number 3. So we've got Alex Hales and Phil Salt, Dawid Malan at 3, Ben Duckett at 4. He's only played one T20, hasn't he? Or maybe just a couple. Harry Brook, all looking forward to seeing him. Moeen Ali coming at 6. And then we've got all these left armers: Sam Curran, David Willey, Luke Wood, and then Adil Rashid and Richard Gleeson. So some surprises in that lineup, I think. The likes of Will Jacks might get an outing before the end, and of course Jordan Cox, also a reserve keeper, I suppose, for these situations. Pakistan go in like this, and Babar Azam under a little bit of pressure, would you believe? It's hard to believe a man so good as him is under pressure after scoring at least 68 runs in 6 games of the Asia Cup. Mohammad Rizwan will keep wicket and open. There was talk that Mohammad Harris might come in to take the gloves, but that hasn't occurred. Haider Ali, Shan Masood, so brilliant in county cricket at the beginning of this year. Iftikhar Ahmed, Kushdil Shah, Mohammad Nawaz, Usman Kadir, the son of the great Abdul, Haris Rauf, Naseem Shah, and Shanamaz Dahani. That is the lineup for Pakistan. What do we make of these two teams then, chaps?
I think England have already rung a few changes, some enforced. I think Gleeson's an interesting choice. No Topley.
No Topley.
Which I thought was possibly a surprise. The ball's likely to skid through though on these surfaces, so perhaps they're thinking less about steepling bounce and more of what supposedly batting friendly tracks are. It's got to be the most breakable attack England have ever taken on tour anywhere, I think. When I look at the propensity for, Helm, Stone, some of them haven't played for the best part of a year. Wokes hasn't played this year, I don't think, or if he did, it was just in West Indies.
Yeah, seems a long time ago, doesn't it? That was in March, wasn't it, if I remember correctly. Extraordinary stuff, really. It'll be interesting to see how Pakistan go. They're coming off being runners-up in the Asia Cup. I have to say, I personally didn't manage to get to see much of that tournament, but not only are England playing 7 games against Pakistan here, but when they get to Australia, they're playing a warm-up against Pakistan at the Gabba about 3 days before the tournament proper
just in case
starts.
they miss each other.
Yeah, the old friendships, they'll need to bring people back together again. Anyway, looks like we're going to get underway very shortly. Messi Jez can tell us if we've been joined by anyone on Twitter.
We have indeed. Mark Zip is the first on board. Looking forward to the OBO. Pakistan getting over the Asia Cup loss. England rotating and testing players ahead of the World Cup. And he then goes on to advertise us. Thank you very much, Mark. Warren says, morning all, good to have you back. Leah says, hello everyone. I had my second booster yesterday. I'm feeling it a bit. Take it easy, Leah. And Armchair Cricket Podcast, in response to a tweet I put out saying that we were starting off with age masquerading as maturity with the three of us. It says, surely between these 3 stalwarts, the ship will reach open waters safely. Love the self-deprecation, by the way.
It's about 180 years, I think, between us, isn't it?
It is, but just think of how much cricketing experience there is there.
Most of which are misses,
Phenomenal.
to be fair. Let's be honest.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
Gosh, doesn't that look shiny? That looks a very flat pitch indeed. It's a bit like, do you remember that one in Jamaica where they called the game off, where you could almost see your reflection in it? It's a bit like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's do some jingles.
Well, let's jingle up Babar Azam first. Are you sure you want to remove? No, I don't want to remove it from the cart. Why is it even asking me that?
Oh dear, it's doing all sorts of weird things, I'm afraid. We're going to need the bear,
We already need... It's asking me.
You've got to click on the clip. The red thing, where it says close. No, dear, it's all going horribly wrong.
It's the bear's revenge for not being rusted on till over 2.
The bear's annoyed that he came in so early and then found that he wasn't on for an hour, so... he's a little bit scratchy today, I'm afraid to say. Anyway, it looks like David Willey's going to open the bowling. Going to open the bowling to hopefully this man.
No, sir. He doesn't, because he's a cricketer from Pakistan and he's a really good one. Thank you very much.
What happened to the Beach Boys? Oh well, never mind.
A good point. Well, we like to move them around, don't we, and keep our listeners guessing. Also opening the batting, well, is this man. Are you going to play me?
I can play this chap. Latterly of Sussex.
Oh yes.
how he bats and he keeps, and that's what the deal is.
Ooh, I like it.
Muhammad Rizwan.
Sounds a bit like a Croatian folk dance, doesn't it, that? But there you go, it isn't. We're just waiting for David Willey to get underway because someone's behind the bowler's arm, would you believe?
Is that a genre you're particularly familiar with?
Croatian folk music, yeah, one of my favourites. I always used to get that from the music library. So it's Rizwan will face the first delivery of those two batsmen. And it's nice to see a new ground, isn't it? Or a ground that we haven't seen for a very long time. And he's facing up the first delivery. It's just one slip, Moeen Ali, and he comes forward and pushes firmly through the offside out towards the cover boundary. They'll run through for 1, and Pakistan are up and running. Good crowd, although they seem to be hiding under the roof of the stadium, which seems odd when it's evening and there isn't actually any sunshine, but maybe that's just habit. And Willie looks like he's had a bit of a spruce up, a new haircut, turns at the top of his run, and is in once more for the first time today. Babar Azam, and plays this absolutely beautifully off his legs. That's as smooth and as creamy as you could possibly want, and it's brought in 4 runs.
Now my innings going, great guns, I hit the ball, 4 runs, I hit the ball and it went for 4 runs.
That was pure double cream, that really, wasn't it? Beautiful.
And he hit them off this
Sounded
time.
like yogurt to me.
The people would have had enough of Willie and Angel. His name's Willie. Listen, gorillas, and you'll hear it isn't so. Oh no.
Willie again shorter onto the back foot. They're going to hurry through for a single, although Babar Azam was hesitating several times as he moved down the wicket. Wasn't convinced that his partner was going to come. Ultimately he did, and so Pakistan moved to 6 without loss. It's very quick, isn't it, T20 cricket, after coming off the pace of even a super turbocharged test series. It's still all happening in the first over. 6 from 3
It's all
deliveries.
done in an afternoon rather than 3 days, you mean?
That's the one. That's the one. Rizwan averaging 51 in T20s. Extraordinary from him. Willie is in. He's onto the back foot. He's pretty much running before he plays the shot. He dabs it to backward point. Comes through for the 1. Normally you would see Jason Roy in that position, but of course Jason Roy left out of this England squad entirely. A little bit, unfortunately, I think. All that talk through the summer that he wasn't getting runs just got worse and worse for him. I think they could have rested him earlier. I wonder whether we'll regret not taking him to Australia, because he was bound to come good at some point, was he not? But it's good to see Alex Hales back in the team. From an England perspective, it's been too long, and now that Owen Morgan has gone to pastures new, he'll take his place at the top of the order. In comes Willie again. Better ball. I think he'll take another quick single. Going to have to hurry. Throw to the non-striker's end. It's taken Sam Curran somewhere painful as he backs up at mid-on, and Babar Azam wanders over to commiserate, or perhaps even laugh, as the score moves to 8 for no wicket. But they're looking for runs pretty much every ball. It's tap and run at the moment. I think he would have been home. They're very quick between the 2 wickets.
But that's been one of the criticisms of these two. Has been, I mean, you've got the number 1 ranked T20 batsman in the world, T20 international batsman in the world, number 3 ranked, and yet there's still a feeling that they just a little too traditional and score a little too slowly.
They say that,
Whereas
but
it
whenever
doesn't
I
seem
watch
like it here.
them, no, whenever I watch them, they seem to be doing very well indeed. But so maybe you've just got to, pay more attention to what they do when you're not actually watching their individual games. 8 for no wicket. England have 4 saving 1 on the offside. 2 men slide just behind square, so a short third man and a backward point. And as Willie runs in, Rizwan is disturbed by someone again behind the bowler's arm, and so there will have to be some remedial education to tell that person not to do it again. But maybe it's just something shining off something, a light perhaps, something you need to be aware of at this time of night. In comes Willie again, bowls flicked away off the straight by Rizwan to deep square leg. They will take the single. That will complete the first over, and it's a pretty handy one for Pakistan. They've moved to 9 for no wicket. Messi.
Leachy, a fellow West Australian of mine who's on radio, has the excellent Twitter handle of the Sports Freak. Says, I'll be falling asleep to your dulcet tones. Can I last 5 overs? Well, I should remind you, Leachy, that your Twitter handle says in it that sleep's overrated. So just stay awake. If you're on air tomorrow at 9 o'clock, so what? You can yawn a bit. Leah says, England and Pakistan, India versus Australia, the beginning of a dismal winter that brings us a deluge of hit and giggle bovine feces. And I can tell you that India are 126 for 4 after 13.3 overs against Australia. She also says the Jamaica pitch was fun, made the batsman look funny taking guard because the spikes wouldn't go into the pitch.
Opening the bowling, another left arm medium pacer, it's Sam Curran.
Is he a batter or bowler? Sam Curran. What's his distinguishing feature? Sam Curran. His dad's from Zimbabwe. Sam Curran. And he's beloved by Liz Yates. Sam Curran.
Again, he's got 4 men on the offside, saving a single. The third man on the backward point, and this is driven slightly on the up to the onside. David Willey fielding at mid-on. There is no run. The GPL will be open, I presume, very soon. I can't hear what he said. The Bears shouted something, but it's open now, he's shouting. I don't know what's in it, though. He's going to tell me what's in it. About 80 quid.
It was 90 something.
94 quid.
Yeah.
94 quid.
Oh, yeah.
GPL, go to guerrillacricket.com/competition. You estimate how many runs we scored in the entire match. And if you get on the nose, you get all the money in the pot. It pays £1 to do so. Jabbed into the offside and backing up at the non-strikers end. Babar has come a long way down, so that throw from backward point is speared at the non-strikers end by Dawid Malan. But I think he was home.
Pitched the first 2 just a little bit shorter than David Willey did. Willey clearly looking for that early swing.
No swing, though, is there? We've seen no swing so far.
No.
I know we've only had 8 balls, but you'd expect to see 1 go by now. As well as the GPL, of course, I should tell you that a special treat for all you tightwads who haven't become Patreons yet. Patreon.com/Guerrilla Cricket. For £2, you get all sorts of extra things. And in a moment, as Sam Curran comes in again, no slip, and the bowl's driven once more, slightly on the up, but straight to mid-off. Hales does the fielding. There's again no run. I should say that the Smaximum, which is one of the things that we produce for our Patreons, this week's edition, or last Friday's edition, is going to go live on the website very shortly. In fact, just after I've spoken. So you can get an idea of what the Smaximum is if you don't really know what we do. It's 4,000 words or around about. And that's not just because we're boring. It's hopefully they're all very meaningful. Jabbed into the offside by Rizwan. They'll take a single to Milan.
What's in it this weekend?
Well, in this week there is someone called Gorilla Hendo who's been writing
Him again.
about him, boring old bastard.
Oh,
I know. He's been talking about how he's become a bit of a convert to baseball.
That's interesting.
There's also someone called Tony Bishop.
Oh, no, he's funny.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like
he's
reading his stuff.
absolutely hilarious. I'll come back to that in a minute after this ball. Although for some reason we're seeing someone practicing at the moment, and in fact we're not bowling. Now finally here comes Curran, and bowl short, pulled. Wasn't a very good ball.
Shocker.
It's almost just been slapped away by Babar Azam, and it's gone to the boundary at long leg for 4. Tony Bishop is talking about what would a cricket transfer deadline day look like, and it would look like Oliver Hannon-Dalby apparently being lost in a car park. So that's lots of fun. There's also fortnightly columnist Chris Woke, who talks on a regular basis to Grubby. And Grubby notes it down and then turns it into gorgeous prose. So you can find out what our social justice warrior Chris Woke has been up to, as Curran is in again, back of a length, chopped through the gap in the offside. I think it'll just be a single to Harry Brook at deep cover. It is. Score moves to 15 for no wicket after 2 overs. Just to finish that off, you can find out a little bit more about what goes on cricketing progenies, those guys that are sons or brothers or cousins or whatever, and how they've been doing in the county championship. There's a little table that we've been operating this season. Of course, it's been in abeyance for a while because there's not been any championship cricket. But as you see, Ben Compton is doing very well in that. And then finally, there is all the gossip from the green room, which some people say is their favourite bit.
Oh.
So go to patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket. If you give us £2 a month or more, you will get all that. In fact, any level of Patreon gets that now. We've extended it. As Willie starts the third over, he's in, bowls to Babar, who goes onto the back foot and strokes cleverly between extra cover and mid-off. Alex Hales looked like he was accompanying the ball to the boundary there, because it just seemed to keep running away from him. He was always beside it. But
he was running like he was in diving boots.
He was really struggling, wasn't he? I think they'll have got back for 2, maybe 3 even. Almost played that with one hand, just the top hand in the end. But in the end, he put the dive in and managed to flick it back, and David Willey was very pleased with him. The score has moved on to 18, so they did get 3 runs. Brings Rizwan back to face. He's got 4 from 7. Babar 14 from 6. Willie in again, back of the length, cut powerfully past the man at backward point. No need to run for that, as they used to say. 4 runs. Also, in the sometimes in the Smaximum, you get wise old heads like Messi Jez writing things. I mean, what he doesn't know about Sussex in 1960 is not worth knowing. 22 for
the
no
good thing
wicket.
is, there's very few people around who can contradict me too.
This is very true. Apart from David Brook, I think. This is flicked away very cleverly by Rizwan. Got a little bit onto the leg stump, did Willie. There is nothing out there for the bowlers at all. And that is 4 more runs. Going to be a big score.
Well, you say that. I don't think Willie's bowled very well. I mean, Curran, 1 bad ball, which he got punished for, but 5 basically really good ones. Whereas Willie, I think, just not found his length yet.
I just don't think there's any swing there, which is I mean, often we say there is only swing for a couple of overs, but you normally expect Willie to get it at the start of his spell, and he's halfway through his second over and I haven't seen one go yet. He's gone for 11 already off the first 3 balls of this over. He's in again, onto the leg stump, or maybe leg and middle, just tucked away. Easy single on this occasion. 27 for no wicket.
I can tell you the domestic average first innings score is 173.
Is that in the PSL?
That's the PSL. That was in this year, and then 2021 it was 169. So it's around about 170, 160, late 160s, which is not huge by any manner of means.
Well, except in the T20s at Karachi, Pakistan has never lost.
Is that right?
3 of their 4 times they batted first, they got over 200. So, yeah.
Well, they've only played 7 times there. Once, I think, was Bangladesh,
true.
and
6 times against the West
Indies. Yes.
Fair point. Yeah.
Also, the team batting second has won since 2018. I'll just keep you in suspense for a second.
Willie, back of a length, forced again through extra and mid-off. And this time, Alex Hale says, I'm not going to accompany that one. I'm giving it up for gone. And it is 4 more.
I've got to be honest. The first one and that one, I thought Hales could have put a dive in, and he chose not to on both occasions.
He's looked a bit sluggish, hasn't he? He's looked a bit sluggish as Hales.
I mean, that was, if you watch that, look, he just didn't seem to try.
Yeah, well, he run the last one. It's very hot out there.
Well,
he's just easing himself back into international cricket. Willie into completely over. It's short, it's rubbish, it's pulled away. This time not particularly well hit, not particularly well timed. So they'll only get a single to deep square leg. But that is the end of the 3rd over. And Pakistan are motoring along. 17 from that over, 32 for none. Messi.
Ravi Nair says, since you can fit 2 T20s in a day, can we treat this series as a 3.5-day test? That's about how long English tests last anyhow.
That's true. That's true.
Leah says Yadav is hitting them higher than Russian T-72 turrets fly in Ukraine in the India-Australia match. The frequency with which it happens is similar though. Jay is with us. Says, afternoon all, I'm sure it's been said before, but England in Pakistan is mint. And I love Mess's jacket. It reminds me of a failed novelist, English lit lecturer who creeps out attractive undergraduate students by offering them weed.
Do you know?
Do you know what? I was thinking English tutor or geography teacher. I had both of those sort of in my head when I saw
could
it.
imagine. I could imagine. Who would you have to play Messi J's? I'd have Jack Nicholson.
Oh, what a
Jack
story.
Nicholson as Messi J.
Here's Messi.
Here's Messi. Don't mess with Messi. Luke Wood is going to bowl, so Sam Curran just got the spell of 1 over. And it's going to be another left arm over the wicket bowler, I imagine, unless he decides to come round the wicket to the right-handers. We shall see. No, he's over the wicket. He's back of a length, pretty much like everyone else. Good diving stop by Harry Brook at cover. I don't think they got a run there, did they? I think it was such a good piece of fielding. Had it got past Brook, it would have run all the way to the boundary, but he put in the yardage and then put in the dive and grabbed it with one hand.
You see, that is what Hales could have done.
Yeah.
And conspicuously ducked out of doing twice. Here's Luke Wood.
I like that. Flicked away down to the deep on the leg side. A bit of a wild throw coming in over the top of the England wicketkeeper Phil Salt. They get through for 1. Barbara has gone to 20 from 10. Arizman has 13 from 10. Was that the whole of the jingle?
Yeah,
Was it?
it's only 5 seconds. I'll play it again in case you missed it.
I don't know what it is, but I like it.
It's certainly short.
He got his England cap. The 96th player to play T20 cricket for England. In he comes again, full of ball, driven by Arizman. They're going to take an easy single because Hales has decided now to go back to the edge of the circle so he doesn't have to either dive or run. They get the single, 34 for no wicket. So yes,
So I was just going to check with you, is Mark Wood not fit or is just he rested before he's played?
He's rested before he's played, yeah, that's basically it. I suppose, I don't know whether he's still got any lingering effects of that injury. Certainly Josh Butler has, which is why he's been left out of the first part of this tour. Wood races in, he's quick up to the wicket, isn't he? And this is tucked away to the man on the 45, who is not Adil Rashid. They take a single, and the score moves to 34 for no wicket. 35 for no wicket. So please, if you possibly can, become a patron, patreon.com/. We want to write and do the stuff that we do, podcasts and whatever, for more of you. But we can't afford to do it for nothing because we don't get any money apart from Patreon, really. So that's what keeps us going. That's what has to keep us on the road or in the house or in the flat that we're in. In the studio, in comes Wood again. Bowls full. He's gone right across that. That could be close. Massive appeal from Wood. It could only have pitched outside leg stump. Otherwise, it was plumb, surely. I would be inclined to review that.
He's about 5'10", I think, Luke Wood, and I think 4.5 feet of it is chin.
Well, they're not going to review it. I thought that was a...
I thought it was going down leg.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think it was going down.
Pitched
leg,
outside leg, maybe.
pitching
Pitched outside leg, but it's hitting, surely. That's hitting. That's plumb.
Yeah, but I think it pitched outside.
Yeah, may have pitched outside leg, so that may have been a good ruling by Moeen Ali. We've seen other England captains in other forms of the game not be particularly good at reviewing.
I like his hair. That's very sort of First World War recruit
It is.
haircut, isn't it? With
Absolutely.
a perfect parting.
That and a chin.
Yeah.
That and the chin. In he comes. Bowls a full one, looking for the Yorker,
Great
but dug out by Rizwan up to mid-on. They will run through for the 1. That is the end of the 4th over. Pakistan are going at 9 runs per over. They're 36 without loss. Rizwan 15, Baba 21. Messi.
The Pawn Bot says the timing of this game has made fornication during cricket awkward. Click here. Jay says, I know someone who can contradict you, Jeremy, about Sussex in the 60s. You'd probably both just be making shit up at your age, mind. He's talking of his dad, of course. Farong says, Wibble from Mirpur. Hope everyone is well. India, Australia, Pakistan, England. Nice to see them playing. Can't get too enthusiastic. This is the main contest is next month in the World Cup. Ludo on hold for the time being. Cheers. I can tell you that India are 148 for 5 after 16 overs.
Just to finish off that chat about Patreon, the Bear should have put the latest Smacksman to air right now. So have a look through the timeline of Guerrilla Cricket, and when I get off air, I'm going to stick it as the pinned tweet. So you can go and have a read, and if it takes your fancy, become a Patreon. If it doesn't take your fancy, well, at least you've read it. So you can't say fairer than that, can you? 36 for no wicket. Richard Gleeson is going to take over. First sign of right arm over the wicket, and it's that extra bounce that causes Rizwan, quite a small man, a little bit of difficulty there. He was trying to cut, but he hit underneath it, if anything, and was lucky not to get an edge through. Shall we jingle up Richard Gleeson?
We can indeed, assuming I can spot him. Here he is.
Yorker from Gleeson, Yorker from Gleeson, crashing into the turret. The batsman relay, 2016 season. Yorker from Gleeson, went for less than a run.
Next ball is a straight one, but it's whipped away with a great whirl from Mohammad Rizwan, who then walks the single pretty much down to the long leg. 37 for no wicket.
I can confirm that the Smaximum is now live on the website.
The Smaximum is live on the website. Go and have a read. If you have never read the Smaximum before, if you're not a Patreon, all Patreons should have read it by now, and if they haven't, I'll be round to say ask why not. But if you are not a patron and you want to see the kind of content we put out, we think it's a bit different from most cricket literature. Maybe literature is too strong a word, but most cricket literature that's out there. So there's a bit of satire, there's a bit of humour. So give it a go. In comes Gleeson, bowls back of a length, and Babar Azam strokes wide to mid-off. Hales fields, they take another single, he goes to 22. A man who's getting criticised for his strike rate. He's doing pretty well today, he's almost up at 200 runs per 100 balls, 22 off 12. Current run rate is 8.4.
Top wicket taker in the Blast this year, Gleeson. 25 wickets at 18, best of 5 for 33 versus Worcestershire Rapids.
He's never someone that's come across my radar, but since I've seen him in bowling for England, I've been quite impressed. Here he is, in a very straight run-up and very stiff-backed, but in a good way. This one is flicked through mid-wicket. No one's going to get to that. Lovely shot. Rizwan goes to 20. Pakistan 42 for no wicket.
Yeah, just overpitched it, didn't he? Well, no, maybe not actually. It was just beautifully played.
Yeah, not too bad a ball. I mean, yeah, it was a bit full maybe. And on a pitch that looks as good as this one, you don't have to worry about it's going to do a lot off it. And so you can play the ball from off stump, which is pretty much what Rizwan did there. And Gleeson will say, this is not like Old Trafford at 11:25 on a Tuesday morning. Anyway, he's coming in again to Rizwan. Back of the length, works it. Up to mid-on. Milan Fields get through for 1.
Only played 300 games though, which is a surprise. And having done so well in the Blast.
Well, he didn't he start off at Lancashire? Where's he now? Is he at Lancashire or Northampton?
No, he's at Lancashire.
He's at Lancashire.
Northampton,
Started at
then
Northampton.
moved to
That's right. Yeah. And really, he sort of came out of club cricket from nowhere. Really, I think when he started with
He
Northampton.
nearly retired. It was almost given the game up.
Yeah. So that's great. I mean, that's just a great story as well, isn't it? I love to see those guys, have really had to work hard to get where they are. He's in to complete the over. It's a short one.
Someone in.
It's a small, it's a slow short one. It's ducked under by the batsman, and that is the end of the 5th over. So 7 runs from it. Pakistan are 43 for no wicket. 5 overs have been bowled, and your next ball by bowler will be none other than Tony Bishop 1.
Yes, indeed, it is. And I'm going to be joined by 2 people, but I can't remember who. I think one is Tim. Tim, are you there?
James.
And should be James.
I'll just do one tweet. It's a very special one from Brian 001, our purveyor of very lovely alcoholic goods.
Oh, fantastic.
And I just want to say thank you, Brian, for your last gift to me, which was particularly pleasant, included some French wine. Thank you. He says, hello from Le Treport, France. Great to hear some cricket as I relax with some nice beer from a plastic wine cup. And he sent us a video of him drinking and toasting us. We're day 8 into our 10-day campervan holiday, hitting the wine warehouse tomorrow for our duty-free 42 litres of beer and 18 litres of beer, you say, but I suspect you mean wine.
Well, Luke Wood is
on
going
you.
to continue. And that one is crashed through mid-off by Rizwan, looking every inch the top ICC T20 bowler player in the world, or batsman in the world, for one of these.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
I was about to say he'd done really rather quite well, had Luke Wood in his first over, comparatively. But that one was just gorgeously played away by Rizwan. Bowling, I think, from the university end, if I'm not much mistaken, but I may have my ends wrong, in this Karachi National Stadium. Only the 8th ever T20 international here, this one. 1 against Bangladesh, 6 against the West Indies for Pakistan. Here comes the van with the long face, Luke Wood. That's full. An attempted flick off his pads by Rizwan. Sharp fielding will keep him honest on that occasion. And it's a comparatively rare dot ball. Hello, Tim. Nice to see you back with us.
Nice to be back. I must say, I've been impressed with Luke Wood so far. In his first over in a bit.
Indeed. Now, you've been keeping tabs, have you not, on the who's been buying who for the Indian version of the South African T20 tournament, right? Which franchise is buying who, and who's leaving Owen Morgan on the shelf like the last turkey in the shop? Although he did get picked in the end, didn't he? Over the wicket comes the left arm Wood. Again, worked away towards square leg by Rizwan. They will get a single. Bring Babar Azam back onto strike, who's the number 3 ranked ICC batsman in the world.
If I'm not mistaken, by the same team that picked up Jason Roy, so they picked up two people who are out of form.
Well, yes. Who knows by the time? When does that event actually take place? When does the first game get played?
It's at the beginning of January. They haven't quite put out the fixtures, but it's the beginning of January.
Oh, right, so it's a way away. In comes Wood again, very busy run, and he does get a little bit of swing. It's full and it swings in, and it's just played into the onside, and again it's a dot ball. And I'm liking the look of Luke Wood here.
Yeah,
the fit and firing Wood as opposed to the other one.
He's certainly a bit quicker than you think. I think that's what the Pakistan batsmen are having at the moment. They think the ball is not as quick as it is, but it's coming on nicely off the pitch.
10 blast wickets in 8 games for the Trent Rockets, and 14 blast wickets at 27, as this one is steered to mid-off on this occasion by Babar Azam for just a single. Definitely seems to be Tim establishing just that little bit of extra control that certainly wasn't there with Willie.
I think Willie might be coming to the end. He's been a really good servant, but I think he might be coming to the end of his career. Luke Wood is definitely the future. He definitely looks as if as you said, he's kept things within check. All they need now
over
is
the wicket
to
again.
wicket.
Saw the batsman move away towards leg and speared it in at him, but Rizwan is still able to flick it away for 2 backward of the square leg umpire. Sharp running, a throw came in. The stumps have been broken on the throw, but I think there's no real danger. The throw came in from Sam Curran, who is proudly sporting his red England cap. It means that at the end of that over, the 50's up for Pakistan. They are 51 without loss after 6 overs, which of course is also the power play. Phil Salt, who is behind the stumps, wasn't quick enough to take the ball, and the throw was in there. 51 without loss, decent start of Pakistan in the power play. Now then, who have we got on social media, James?
We've got Jeff Perkins to start with. So it's saying, with that many barnacles, the ship will be lucky to get anywhere fast. Which I'm sure is relying something that you were talking about previously. Brian Barish coming in. Good day and good morrow, cricket friends. Ready for a fall and winter of pocket cricket. Hell, let's just call it pocket ball, because at the end of the day, we're all just playing with ourselves. Tar.
Oh, nice. Interesting thought. Yeah, we're watching that power play. 51 off it, we said, watching various highlights. To me, Willie was just not finding his length. I definitely think Luke Wood was the pick of the bowlers. Sam Curran had bowled a decent over, but just the one, and Gleeson also struggled a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good power play that from Pakistan, bearing in mind these two guys have been criticised so heavily for their slow scoring.
Well, yeah,
that's
doesn't look like it, does it?
No, that I wonder if we've even sold a line there.
Curran is back into the attack, and he's worked away into the off by Babar Azam. Will just be a single towards mid-wicket. keeping that scoreboard ticking. Pakistan will move on to 52 from shade over 6 overs now. None for 7 for Sami Curran, live from Karachi. Right down on the Arabian Sea coast is Karachi. They will then move up towards where are they playing next? Faisalabad, isn't it? As this one again is Rizwan had stepped back, and again he's able to work it off his hip all the way backward of square for one of these.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
I mean, he's so good off his hip, Tim, isn't he?
If you don't get him early, he is hugely problematic, this one. He's good all right the wicket, but yeah, he certainly likes to get it off the legs there. Such a dangerous cricketer.
Curran in again, off his legs by Rizwan, once again past the square leg umpire.
I think the thing is also that it's not just that they haven't contained, it's that they failed to actually pose a threat as well, the England bowlers so far.
No, well, we were promised a batsman's wicket, which it certainly seems to be so far. It almost is like a mirror. Hendo said it was, with the floodlights glaring on it.
Yeah.
It literally is shining like a skating rink. 57.
I'll come back to you after this delivery.
Curran, that's full, but just pushed really towards long on, easy single taking.
One thing in England's favour is they've got a varied attack. They've got left arm over, right arm medium, off spinner, leg spinner. So it's very much a varied attack that England have got. Lots of options. So if somebody does go for tap, they do have backup, if you like.
Well, they do, and they've got spin options as well, because they've got Adil Rashid and they've got Moeen Ali, of course. But it's all seam at the moment. Curran coming around the wicket to Rizwan, who punches him beautifully straight back down the ground for 4 more.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, 170 odd is the domestic average first innings score. You'd be surprised, Tim, if Pakistan don't go some way past that, unless England can pull something out of the hat that's going to slow them down a bit. This one is slapped away round on the 45. There's a man down at long leg. It is Adil Rashid. So they will just take a single.
If Pakistan don't do Pakistan and have a massive collapse somewhere along the line.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout, because that middle order is not anywhere close to the quality of these two.
No, well, England's attack, I mean, you could have picked any number, but it's slightly experimental, I suppose, when you look at the combinations they put in there with Luke Wood and Gleeson. One for Nottinghamshire, of course, one for Lancashire. But it's when we've been used to different England attacks over the year, that's not 2 names I don't think that we would have seen together, is it? Well, it won't be, because isn't this Luke Wood's debut?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we won't have seen them together then, will we? 63. Luke Wood got to hang out. 7 overs.
Luke Wood got to hang out in Amsterdam without doing anything.
Rashid is into the attack over the wicket, and it's guided by Rizwan down towards Harry Brook, who's at mid-on. It's kind of a long on, really. They take a single. Barbar will be back onto strike, and I cut across your social media opportunities there, James. So
well, listen. Let me after the next ball, I'll jump in with a couple of quickies.
Please do, because I had something as this one's attempted flick down leg. Alim Dar spreads his wings wide.
Well, there's a thing about Patreon here with Jay Grover saying that he should have held out on being a patron because it seems to cost an out nowadays. But then pointing out that it's the best money actually he'd ever spent, apart from books.
That's all right. Rashid again over the wicket. He comes. That one looking for the leg break, went pretty much on with the arms, just pushed away towards Ben Duckett, who's at mid-on, and there is no run. Oh, 1 run, I beg his pardon. 66.
There's a good warning shout here from Armchair Cricket Podcast about Babar Azam having the ability to switch gears.
comes Rashid. That one looked like the googly. And it's a dot ball. And he did not push it through as well, Tim, didn't he? A googly at pace.
How Pakistan play Rashid will be a large cause of what happens in this match. They're playing well, they'll score 180 plus. Playing badly, they could be out for not much, even though they're 66 without loss.
83 T20I wickets. That one is swept away. There will be a man coming in. Indeed there is. So we'll just take a single. Score moves on to 67. Do squeeze in another couple of messages, because I had a message I wanted to play at the end of.
Yeah, we have. Does thinking you're a horse run in the Wood family is a question from Warren. Maybe looking like a horse runs in it for Luke Wood.
Again, that one's more of a leg break, but that's not really turning. It's steered away towards mid-wicket. They take another single. 68 without loss of 7.5.
Now, Tim, there's one that might interest you here. Brian001 asking, I do like your pithy comments. Is there any way of delivering beers to you South African gorillas?
Whoa, what an offer, Tim. I'll let you need to think about that.
There is.
Rashid, all that's top-edged, but there isn't a fly slip. There isn't really a shortish leg. And it will net him runs. Gleeson goes off in pursuit. And we'll get him probably end of the over. We'll get him 2 quite fortunate runs. 70 without loss. Pakistan after 8. You will of course be aware of the terrible flooding situation in Pakistan. Our old friend Atif Nawaz is going to be performing at the Hackney Empire this week with a whole bunch of quite interesting comedians, including Milton Jones, if you happen to like him. Purely to raise money for that, and here he is just to tell you a little bit about it and where, if you can go in the UK, if you're in the UK, where you can get tickets.
Hello everybody, Atif Nawaz here, inviting you to Stand Up for Pakistan, a very special stand-up comedy show at the Hackney Empire in London on the 21st of September. There'll be performances from Asim Chowdhury, Kay Kurd, Milton Jones, Nabil Abdul Rashid, Noreen Khan, Shazia Mirza, Tez Ilyas, Ishan Akbar and myself. All proceeds from the evening will go to the Disaster Emergency Committee, who are supporting relief efforts in Pakistan following devastating flooding in the country. Tickets are £20. See you then.
There you go. Obviously, not obviously, but very much a
worthy cause.
Alumni of Guerrilla Cricket, Atif. As Moeen Ali is into the attack, I'll jingle him in a minute, as this is just guided away to backward point. They take a single. The bear is waving at me, I don't know why.
GPL, 6 minutes, GPL.
6 minutes on the GPL. 6 minutes on the GPL. It was at £94. What's it at now, Bear? As we wait for Moeen Ali, I was just going to jingle him, wasn't I? Where is he gone? England captain, of course. Very proud to be so. As this one is swept out towards mid-wicket. Harry Brook sprints across the field. They take 2 more. Here's Moeen Ali. 73 is the score.
Our beard shouldn't touch. Move over, Amlo. I like it too much. Move over, Amlo. You're one hairy dish. I love unconditionally. It's Moeen Ali.
It is Moeen Ali, and he's around the wicket to the right-handed Rizwan, who flicks him again quite wristily out towards deep mid-wicket. Partially fielded. A bit of a fumble. In fact, there's 3 fumbles. The throw was... the fielder fumbled. the bowler fumbled, and the backing up fielder fumbled. So it was a trio of slippery-fingered fumbling from England's perspective. But it still only cost the 1 run. 74 without loss, Pakistan. These 2 looking every inch, the number 1 and 3 best or current ICC ranked T20 international batsman.
Not having to take any risks is playing a huge part for Pakistan at the moment.
Moeen Ali, that's dabbed beautifully late. They will take 1 more as Gleeson fields, running towards third man, but he's in quite short. Tapal Tea, presumably that's a brand of tea, is it? That's what's being advertised on the screen. They seem to have a nice little tea cafe, the Tapal Tea Cafe. All looks rather refined. Down the track comes Rizwan. He gets everything behind that. It's gone the distance, straight back over Moeen Ali's head for one of these.
I believe in miracles.
Oh,
Since you came to bat, you sexy thing, you sexy thing. I believe in miracles. Since you came out to bat, you sexy thing.
87 metres down the track he comes again. Rizwan flicks this out towards long on where Brook does the fielding. They take 2, Pakistan, and move on to 83. It's the end of the 9th over. I should tell you have just under 4 minutes now. It's over £100, £102. We've had 19 entries. You are on fire in looking to guess the score today. GorillaCricket.com/competition. All you have to do is register, make your guess, and if you win, if you get it on the nose, you win the pot, or if 2 of you get it, you win a share of the pot. If not, the pot carries over, and I will go to James for messages.
So O'Neill Harris, nice compliment. Hey Gorillas, glad to see you again. I'm loving the fact that England plays so much cricket because it allows us to listen to GC radio. I think that is why they play so much cricket. There's a deal here with the ECG that we never talk about. Annie making the point about Babar Azam, how wonderful he is to watch.
In comes Rashid, slapped straight to Captain Moeen Ali, who is at cover. There is no run, still 83. It's been a fantastic start. What a platform these two are building. Can the rest of the team build on it? England would be desperate for a breakthrough to try and break this partnership. Rashid, leg break, tickled away into the leg side. They're going to come back for 2. They are quick between the wickets. The throw has to come in from Barber, but he has got away with it. It was Rizwan actually who had to put in the dive. Babar Azam remains on strike. And we're seeing just a little bit more of Babar Azam than we were expecting to there. No, actually it's Alan, beg your pardon. That's Mohammad Rizwan, isn't it? But either way, he's just had his trousers down. And he's in some discomfort actually after putting in that dive. But he immediately leapt up onto his feet and pulled his trousers down, which was, you don't see every day, to be honest. 85 without loss. He seems to be all right. He's breathing heavily. And that one is a wicket. It was the googly. It's taken back the off stump of Babar Azam. Adil Rashid has made the breakthrough. Beg your pardon. It was Barber that's gone. And, well, he seemed to play all round that, but it was just the first hint of sort of one that genuinely turned. We'll have another look at it for you. Yeah, it was attempted googly, but it seemed to go pretty much straight on with the arm, really. Either way, it's done the job. It's one of these.
Yeah, it didn't turn that much, but as you say, he played all round it, expecting it to spin away from him instead of in.
Sorry, Tim, finish that thought. I rather musically cut across you there.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's pretty self-explanatory, as you said. Googly went in playing for the turn. The turn wasn't there, and just went. There was a rather big gap between bat and pad, much bigger than you would have expected. Just Googly, he can turn it quite a bit, Rashid, but that ball didn't turn much at all.
Self-explanatory, by the way, doesn't necessarily always work well on radio. Just,
True. Very true.
85 for 1. England do have the breakthrough. We're going to see Hyder Ali is going to be the new man at the crease. Let's see if he's easy to find. Or even do we have Hyder Ali? I'm not sure we do. Yes, we do. Here he is. And he plays his first delivery tidily away towards point. And there is no run. 21 years old from Attock, the northern part of the Punjab. Didn't feature in the Asia Cup, and he hasn't actually played since March for Northerns in the Pakistan Cup. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes here. Plenty of air from Rashid, and he plays that very tidily too. All the way into the offside, they take 2. Gets Hyder off the mark. 87 for 1. Just 1 ball left of this over. 1 ball left of my stint, I think. These 5 over stintettes just fly by, don't they? Remember, last chance at the GPL. We may already be too late. The Bear will tell you about it when he's in. This is worked off his legs by Hyder Ali. Down to short fine leg. There is no run. It means that with 10 overs complete, Rizwan on 53, Hyder Ali on 2, 87 for 1 Pakistan. And I'm going to hand you over to the Bear, to James Messers and the Bear. And James taking over on some ball by ball.
Thanks very much. And Messi, the last tweet that we've got to go for is, or the latest tweet is from Leah around the fake PSL. I don't know if that's worth diving into now, actually.
Hang on, just let me find it. Oh, Leah says, I wanted to set up a fake PSL to scam the Russians. And to rub it in, I'd give the teams funny, lewd names like Lahore Hookers, the W-H-O-R-E.
Wow.
Who's in? And Jay says, I think Brian might have thought of the punchline before he thought of the point of the joke.
That's the pocket ball reference.
Right.
All having our hands in our pockets when that came out. Bear, how are you? How have you found it so far? What do you think of Pakistan's start? A lot quicker than they've perhaps been given credit for.
Well, yeah, I think they complain too much in Pakistan, don't they? You've got Babar Azam and Rizwan fucking opening up for you, 1 of 3 in the world. It's not that bad. And they're bloody dangerous if they get going. I mean, Atib was complaining they only get to 180 and 190 regularly. Well, you know, I think a lot of teams would actually die to get to 180 and 190 regularly.
No, absolutely. I think the trouble is, you're right. They're under such a microscope all the time that if they ever do fail, and he did have a bad Asia Cup, didn't he, Babar?
But I mean,
immediately, it's the worst possible situation in the world, rather than he just had a bad couple of games.
Exactly, and that's the thing about T20, isn't it? I mean, it's really easy to have a bad couple of games because you've got to basically try and score runs really quickly, and if you get it wrong, you're out.
It's also interesting, isn't it, when you look at like the strike rates of those guys who are up in the top 5 of the world, that their strike rates aren't quite as high as you would imagine. They're not the kind of defining 2020 strike rates that we would imagine would be there.
And we looked at this,
I want to give you a strike rate from the Australia-India game.
Yeah,
India's gone to 208 for 6 from their 20 overs. Hardik Pandya, 71 from 30.
Ooh, that's pretty good going.
Yeah, strike rate is 236.66. So that's
still too slow.
I mean, we looked at this, didn't we? We looked at this, I think, in the last test, and apart from 1 or 2 outliers, the sort of, you know, the mean of the really good T20 batsmen was about 140, just above, just below, and there's so many people around that. And when you think 100 balls, that's a 5-run difference. I mean, it's difficult to argue.
It is. Well, it's almost like in 2020 we want to reduce it to the caricature. We want to reduce it to the Chris Gale all or nothing hitter, whereas actually the ones who really prevail have got a bit more to them than that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's been actually a criticism of the Pakistan middle order, is that they're unfortunately a bit all or nothing. Anyway, Gleeson coming back into the attack now. Coming in, hopefully he'll have more of an impact than he did before. And Rizwan just tucks that off his pads quite easily, going after the boundary, but fielded there. What do you think Gleeson's trying to get from him? Obviously a travelling reserve for the T20 World Cup.
I quite like Gleeson. I think he's actually probably one of the more rapid guys. Releases it from a decent height, gets the bounce. I mean, this isn't a particularly great series to be doing as a warm up for Australia, I don't think. I know we have to go there, and fine, it's playing T20, but I mean, it's not the kind of wickets you're going to get in Australia. And we've only got 3 warm-up games in Australia. I think they'll be harder, bouncier, quicker, probably.
Very different wickets, aren't they? As he comes in again. Hyder facing, just whips out to mid on there. It's thrown back in. No real action for there, but Hyder tucks away a single and gets himself motoring straight away. And I suppose the thing is that's happened with this is because there's been so many pullouts and so many injuries, so many rests and so many injuries, that it does become slightly less purposeful this tour.
Well, I guess it helps you decide. Exactly that. It maybe helps you find your reserves.
Yeah.
I think you've got an idea what your first 11 squad is. Everybody picks
Purposeful and T20 don't belong in the same sentence outside of tournaments.
Here comes Gleeson again. He's pulled away to the boundary, but fielded. Rizwan there, just ticking it over. Yeah, Messi, you're suggesting
your phone
that the circus of this T20 does not deserve the term purposeful.
Well, it's true.
No, absolutely not. Only in World Cups and in leagues. Outside of that, it's a waste of time. Sorry, not a waste of time. It's pretty irrelevant.
Well, I was excited about this tour as we see Gleeson's coming in again. Pitched further down the wicket here, bounces up, pulled out where Rashid fields it from the leg boundary. I mean, he's done all right this over so far. He's ticking over, not posing a great threat, but none of the players are. But I was excited about this tour just to get back to Pakistan. Yeah. The crowds in Pakistan are so fantastic. Pakistan as a team is just so purely entertaining in every single way. But I just feel it's been devalued a little by the amount of pullouts. Actually, on both sides, not just on England's side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
here comes.
I must say that the Australians. Sorry.
Well, it's almost pulled out again to the boundary again. There seems to be a repetition here of I'll pitch it short, you pull it out to the leg boundary, you can have one, and we're all happy. Sorry, Messi, you were about to say something.
I was just going to say the Australian Test tour to Pakistan was fantastic. Great spirit, fantastic crowd. The players loved it. It was a huge boost for cricket in Pakistan, but also just for cricket in general. It was a fantastic series, although the pitches were shit. Well, I mean, there were just Pakistan pitches, which
are flat,
slow roads. Yeah,
that's the one thing you can't change, I suppose, about it. But you're right, and I think also as Gleeson comes in again and tucked off his legs this time, you're going to be surprised here. It's out to the boundary, but just for one as it's fielded, and end of the over there. So Rizwan on 56, Hyder on 5, Pakistan 93 for 1. Over to you, Messi.
Jay Grover says, if you don't get him early, is an incredibly annoying and overused phrase. Well, yes, if you don't shout myself in the head first thing, there's a chance I'll be able to get through the day. I'm ready to over. Says, afternoon, wonderful gorillas. I'm sure this has been covered already. Sadly, I'm guilty of missing the start of your commentary. But just want to reiterate how fantastic it is to see Pakistan playing at home again against England. A win for cricket.
Yeah.
Indeed it is.
It is. It's great stuff. It's a bit annoying, I imagine, for the players out there who are so tightly secured. The security is so tight. I was reading they can't even go over to the polo ground.
As Rashid bowls again, it's tucked out to the boundary, a long on area, thrown back in. We're very much in the ticking over phase here. After the wham bam, thank you ma'am start of the power play. This is classic post-power play. This is the post-coital cigarette moment.
Well, boring middle overs.
Well,
Here comes Rashid again. And it's paddle swept this time, but there is a kind of a leg slip, far leg slip. Those who's going to tackle that in. In it comes to Rashid. But also they've wrested some control here, haven't they? To be fair, the England bowlers.
Yeah.
After an uninspiring opening.
Yeah. I'm just interested that the power play is like sex for you, Jones. It's interesting, illusion.
Well, I always like to think if those two things can go in hand, sex and a power play, you're not going far wrong. But maybe over too quickly as well. As it's this time out on the off boundary, thrown back in, one again. The ticking over continues, like the clock in the office that never seems to get to 5 o'clock.
Yeah, you got to go a little bit quicker than this in the T20, don't it? Someone's got to... There you go.
Oh, now this is launched. We're cow cornering it here. This is launched. And it's big, and it's one of the big fellas.
I was just going to say, I mean, you can't just tick over ones in a T20. I mean, you've got 9 wickets left and there's only 8 overs left.
Well, it's almost like Rizwan wanted to prove to everybody that he was as slow as he'd been criticised for. He went too quickly at the start and he needed to slow it down again. But yeah, no, he needs to get a move on. 81 metres on that 6 down. I'm surprised they haven't branded that. They seem to brand everything in this match. Here comes Rashid again. It's wide on the offside this time, but still pulled onto leg. But it'll just be a 1. Back to normal service now.
Yeah, speaking of which, there was the auction, wasn't there, yesterday for the South African Super, whatever it is, T20
8-hour auction.
Oh God, tedious.
Yeah, the expression "you can get a fair few bites of the cherry" comes to mind. It seemed to be difficult not to get selected, as I'm sure Owen Morgan would attest.
He didn't get selected in the end, though, did he?
He did.
Oh,
He hung around long enough. Here comes Rashid again. On ball there. Just the one Rashid fields off his own bowling this time. Scuttling there like a rabid tortoise.
And what I didn't know, it was the pricing in dollars or was it in rand? Yeah,
Rand.
It was in rand. Okay.
It was rand, but it was converted to US dollars, wasn't it? Just so that us Egypts could work out what it was.
Well, because what's his name? The guy, God, I can't remember his name, who played in the T20 series here, was a new boy and came in, scored shitloads of runs.
Well, right, Messi, we should go to you. Ended the over. We missed that through talking. So 12 overs gone now. 104 for 1, Pakistan. Rizwan 64, Haider 8. Messi, what's on Twitter?
Anna Forsyth with us draws attention to the fact that John Simpson's made another 50 for Middlesex, but worried about jinxing him by mentioning it. By the way, Ollie Pope made 130 odd for Surrey today.
Nice.
Warren says, did the Pakistan shirt makers run out of green paint partway through doing the numbers? Aaliyah says, India end on 208 for 6 thanks to a pretty handy 71 off 30 from Pandya. Where are we? Armchair Cricket Podcast says, an aggressive move is to send the 6-hitter Haider Ali above steadier Masood or Iftikhar Ahmed. Good to see the flexibility.
Willie is back into the attack here and tucked into the leg side immediately. Willie, who's hopefully going to be a bit more at it this time. It wasn't particularly inspiring opening couple of overs from him, right, Bear?
No, he was all over the place, wasn't he? He kept spraying it down both sides. Can't set fields for that.
No, and it's also one of those things with Willie, isn't it? If it's not swinging up front, he does become eminently hittable.
Yes, well, he's not quick enough, is he? I mean, it's interesting. They got the speeds out of the hand and the speed off the pitch for these guys. And England was surprisingly exactly identical for most of their bowlers.
Comes Willie, tries to york him there. He's kept out, no run. Willie pouncing on it. With Willie and Wood, we have got a surplus of enormous chins in the team today. I wonder if that's a tactic. I saw the lights were reflecting off the pitch. Maybe they will reflect off the chins as well.
Yeah, it's a very shiny pitch. David Willey played for the Multan Sultans. There you go. He has 28 runs, 10 wickets at 14.3 in Pakistan in the Super League. It's not bad. He's looked pretty
Here he comes
today,
again. And again, Yorker length. He's obviously trying to take the pitch out of the equation here.
Kind of looks that way.
Another toe crusher from him there, although probably a toe tickler given the speed that he bowls at. But capped out nicely, all the same, and a good return so far after that disappointing opening spell from him. Well, I mean, that is one of the things about that. So many of the England team have played in the Pakistan Super League, haven't they? So they do have more experience than the usual kind of line that we like to sell about England cricketers not understanding Pakistan pitches.
Presumably, if you're I don't know how the West Indies did against Pakistan in the T20 series, to be fair.
Willie that time maybe slightly over pitching a Yorker, shall we say, straight to Moeen Ali. He's feeling there at cover, and Moeen Ali very much directing his bowlers like they're traffic in the middle of rush hour in London here. He's very hands-on, knows exactly what he wants from them. It's a big moment for Moeen, isn't it, to be captaining in Pakistan?
Oh, yeah.
Here comes Willie again. Little shuffle across the crease there, this time by Rizwan. He pulls it out, again, sort of cow cornerish. coming in. Nicely taken there by Salt. Terrible throw. That was all kinds of wrong there, really.
He's having a little moan at the umpire. I don't know what about. He's 65-43. He's doing all right. He took a couple of big steps down the pitch, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did, yeah.
Whilst Willie was running in, I think it was just he was fed up with the full-length stuff and he wanted to put him off a bit.
I think so. I think that 1-6, it's kind of frustrating, isn't it? The past few overs, England have tied them down a little bit more. I think they'd have been hoping to accelerate. As it comes in again, whipped off the legs. It's just one more coming in here to the total. That's Haider that time. So Pakistan on 107 for 1 with Rizwan on 65 and Haider on 10 at the end of the 13th over. Over to you, Messi.
Jay Grover says, subcontinental cricket fans whinging. You'll be saying English football fans are self-righteous whining solipsists next. Outrageous. I'd say it were totally irrelevant if it wasn't to any other country. Neil Harris says, I somewhat agree with Messi. The results are partially irrelevant, but the players are serious and playing for their future. That's true. And if a team gets blown away, momentum is real. Well, that's an argument for another day. Jeff Perkins sent in a rather disturbing picture, purportedly of me with a Bible standing in front of HMS Gorilla. Less said of that, better. And Jay says, no, this is the thing I'd never have thought to hear the Bay say. You can't even go over to the polo ground.
Well, I was reading an article yesterday. The polo ground is like the Maidan in Delhi or Mumbai, and where all the kids and everyone plays their cricket and sets up their stumps and stuff. But players used to go out apparently and wander around there, but they can't do it now because of all the security.
So little Sammy Curran's back on, immediately pulled out to the leg side. Already looks a little bit too hot, past his bedtime obviously. But replacing Rashid in the attack, which is interesting. Rashid, who I think changed the rhythm of the game when he came on there.
Saving him for a couple of... I think he's got left one. Probably saving him for that.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
It's interesting, isn't it? England have, with left arm seamers now, we've got an absolute plethora of guys who all bowl at the same pace.
Well, it's short and wide on the offside from Curran that time, but he gets away with it, quite frankly. Just one more to the total there. Okay. So Curran, I suppose with this attack, we feel like does feel very much like a B team, even though Curran might be in that starting 11. I guess he's got a chance of that, but it does feel much of a muchness, some of the attack.
Yeah. I guess Reece Topley is still top of the list of the left armers for me. The tallness of him, the bounce that he gets in a little extra pace.
Yeah, he's got something a bit extra, hasn't he? As Curran runs in again.
No.
So his late score's picked up on the leg side here. I think it's going to make it. No! It has made it into the hands of David Willey, who throws it away from himself as though it's a hot jacket potato and then takes a drink immediately.
The crowd says you're out.
Yeah, well, I was looking at temperature there as well. It's 27 degrees at night, 31 degrees during the day, so there's not much difference. 72% humidity today.
Yeah, it's humid as hell there, isn't it?
Yeah, but the dew point is 22 degrees, so they shouldn't get dew.
No, they won't. It just makes it damn hot and oppressive and difficult to breathe. But apart from that, they should be right. Nice. And Haider Ali gone anyway for 11 from 13 balls, caught by David Willey, bowled by Sam Curran there. So well played, Sam Curran came back, showed his stuff, showed that if you bowls short and on the leg side, you can get your just desserts in some ways. Yeah, but Topley is injured at the moment, obviously. So do we know when he's getting back? Do either of you guys know?
Well, I didn't think he was injured. I thought he was just rested. I think they all went out. I think they all went out there fit, with the exception of Jordan and Buttler. Because Jordan's expected to be fit, I think, for the last 2 games, and Buttler may be fit at some point. But Buttler felt that as captain he should go out there anyway and set stuff.
I could be. I thought he got some sort of calf strain when he was over there, maybe. But perhaps not. But anyway, next in is Shan himself, the man himself. And have we got a jingle for him? I presume we have.
We do. Shan, let's find him. Hold on. I've got one somewhere. Shah Massood.
Oh, is it Shah Massood, Mike?
Yes, presumably it's Shah Massood. This is what's, I'm sorry, Pakistan, but it's really annoying. Some people use their surnames and some people use their first names. It can get really confusing, but that's Shah Massood.
Shah Massood.
was born in Kuwait in October 1989. Less than a year later, Saddam Hussein invaded. Coincidence?
Tries to get off the duck immediately, but it's fielded well. Tried to tuck it off his legs here. So he's played a hell of a lot of matches, 118 matches in his T20 career, average of 27.49. And he has scored a ton. Not too many people have done that, with a less than impressive strike rate of 126.15.
Well, yeah. Ooh.
Don't you think that maybe I'm being mean? It's slightly acceptable strike rate, but it's nothing to write home about, is it?
No. Did you
let's be fair. Let's be fair. We're just seeing the current wicket again, and to be fair, it was a good length ball there, and caught like it, safe hands like a bucket there from Willie, and Curran celebrates like a school child who's been told it's a half day. Lovely to see that.
Yeah, it wasn't a great innings by Hardarani. 11 off 30.
No, he felt like he was sort of scrabbling around all the time, trying to find what he should be doing. Here comes Curran again. He gives himself safe space to the shot and just knocks out onto the offside. Just a single here. Good comeback from England. This, I think, after that slightly wild start, and that means that Pakistan are 110 for 2. After 14 overs, with Rizwan on 66 and the new man himself on 1. Over to Messi.
Jay Grover says, as in sex, so the power play. I'm alright if I don't go too early. Then he says, don't date this person, James. He says, James is now talking about biting cherries. Pure filth from the 80s diehard cokehead today.
Well, 20 over run score has 175.5. Over or under, boys?
Over.
You reckon over? I'm tempted under. I'm going
I
under.
think a little bit under, considering what they've got to come in.
Yeah.
I think they would have liked. I mean, if Rizwan can start stepping it up here, we might end up in a position where we're saying we're on a good course here. But if they could get Rizwan here, England, I could see this unravelling a little bit. Anyway, Moen is back on the skipper for the day. Trundle's in as usual. Oh, that's just chipped over mid off and a terrible attempt on the boundary there. Who's that on the boundary?
That's Harry Brook.
Harry Brook, and that means that Pakistan get one of these.
2 + 2 is our man.
Of course,
he just gave himself some room there, didn't he, Rizwan? Lovely shot there, but Harry Brook's got to be doing better there. He slammed the turf like he was high-fiving it there. And again, giving himself a bit of room here. Shan Masood, just the one for it. But we can see, I think, a change of intent here from Pakistan, can't we?
Yeah. Well, they've got to at some point. I wouldn't have brought Spinner back in at this point in the game, I have to say. But maybe they have to. He's juggled his bowlers badly.
Yeah, perhaps a decent gamble though. Rashid, when he came on, slightly changed the flow of things. Here's Moen coming in again. He's picked up onto the leg side this time. Probably just a single again, I would imagine. Maybe no, coming round for 2 again. So I suppose he's thinking that, and also if they are going to come out all guns blazing now, perhaps this is an opportunity for the catchers in the deep to come into the game a little bit more. So we're just seeing here on our TV graphics that Shan Masood is having a much more prolific year this year. His average this year is up at 39s as Moen comes in again. Oh, and Rizwan dances down the wicket, and it's a stump situation. He is gone. Well played, Moen.
Wow, there you go. You see. What shall I play?
I think that's a good choice to play Where's Your Head, actually, because that felt like an unnecessary dance down the wicket there. Didn't play for the spin. I mean, that's as easy as you're going to get for Phil Salt. That's the pepper to his salt there. It really wasn't. Mohammad Rizwan going out looking slightly furious with himself. And quite right, he should too, I think. 68 from 46, but could have been more. His team needed him to guide them a bit further then, didn't they?
Yeah, well, the thing is, they've got to go. I mean, they went off at quite a decent lick, but they've really slowed down. Have England hold them back, or have they just? Maybe this is what Atif was on about, and what the Pakistanis moan about. You need someone in this. Even if the pitch is difficult, someone's got to take a chance. There's always someone who, they've been trying to sweep everything, but not sweeping it particularly hard. Maybe you need to come down and hit it over the top. I mean, he did it successfully once, didn't he?
Yeah,
that was the only time.
If the car comes in now, another of the slap merchants in the middle order.
And he has a jingle that goes like this. It's long.
Why do I find it hard to believe the next stat? Strike rate of 142.
Well, that's been the sort of cliche of Pakistan cricket, isn't it? Too slow. As Moeen comes in again, it's very, very wide there, playing on a second pitch. But now Salt is claiming a stumping here. The appeal has gone in.
Well, you can get stumped off a wide, can't you?
You absolutely can do, and it was a wide. The umpire is just trotting in, sort of slowly slouching in to the middle of the pitch. Actually, here there's going to be a conference here. What do you think this conference is going to be about here? Has this been reviewed? Have I missed out something? Everyone's shrugging their shoulders.
What? What do you mean? Why are they shrugging their shoulders? It's either you either go upstairs and have a look, you either give him not out.
Yeah, you're either out or you're not out.
Salt
So
can't believe
Salt
it.
looks utterly bemused here. He's like he's just been told about the existence of vinegar. He doesn't understand what's happening here. So we're looking at a replay now. So Moeen comes in. It is a wide. So he takes the bells off. I don't think that's out. Do you? His foot wasn't raised.
Well, I think he was watching his foot and realised that he did something. But anyway, it's not been.
Anyway, Moeen comes again. It's short down the leg, just tucked away, possibly for a couple here, possibly one. But yeah, that was a very confusing moment. I don't think that was handled particularly well by the umpires there.
No, well, let's have a look here.
Yeah, here we go. Here's the moment. So
no, he was watching his feet.
No, he wasn't.
I don't think his foot ever left the ground.
It's one of those things where almost Salt wanted his cleverness rewarded, isn't it?
Yes.
And it wasn't going to be. So one ball left from this Moeen over, and then I think we're having a change in commentary team. Here comes Moeen again. It's short. It's hoiked to the leg, where once again it's fielded on the boundary there. So at the end of the over, Pakistan 120 for 3. Iftikhar just got the 1, and Shan Masood is on 7.
We're going to have a switcheroo. It's 3 men in a studio, and they're all old fuckers. I'm the youngest. It's great.
What? Hang on, steady on.
What do you mean?
Speak
You're
for
older
yourself.
than me, mate.
Well,
There, what's that? What's that vape you've got? What flavour of vape is that? That smells quite interesting.
It's tobacco flavour.
Oh.
Golden tobacco.
Oh, golden tobacco.
Yes.
Oh, well, if I'd known that.
Tony, Tony, the next tweet is from Leah about the West Indies.
okay, thank you very much. Somewhere, how many minutes ago? I found it. Don't worry. It's there. Well, what I can tell you then, Leah said West Indies lost every match in their most recent T20 series in Pakistan. Yes, they did.
Well, that's interesting because I think a fair few players played out there. Maybe not. Reverse sweeps, gone straight up in the air. He's going to be out. By first ball, Gleeson catches it. Adil Rashid is back on. It was a pretty horrible shot. And he got a massive top edge, and it just dropped in the hands of Gleeson. It's all falling apart for Pakistan. It's not that really. Let's just give him that.
Even you'd have caught that one, wouldn't you, Bear?
Only
Never
if it was off his
know.
own bowler.
Depends who the bowler is, really.
Might be spinning dastardly way in a dastardly way. Oh, that's a good wicket for England. It's Shan Masood.
If it was a Bishop, probably wouldn't have caught it.
We haven't actually seen the Bishop play, have we? We've seen him. We've seen him umpire. We haven't actually seen
I have a junior Bishop does it all for me now.
Oh, that's
You
right.
noticed
Yes,
that?
you have your. Yes, indeed.
He is a
indeed.
bit quicker than me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't sired any.
Well, unfortunately.
Well, it depends which way you look at it, doesn't it? When I see the look on your face,
Well,
the harassed
see it.
look on your face every
Call
day.
that a rant, son. This is how you rant. For some reason, with a
I
Yorkshire
haven't
accent.
mentioned the Queen yet, have I?
Oh goodness, don't do that.
Who's in now?
Mohammed Nawaz.
Mohammed Nawaz. He has a jingle. Goes something like, if I can find him, I know he's here. There he is.
No, I was.
The winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this sun.
Of Pakistan.
That is bizarre.
Any reason we've gone for Richard III?
That was, I don't know. That was driven out to cover, and there was no run. It was first ball.
That was the first time you hear a jingle where you look at each other and think, what the heck? What was that all
Some
about?
of these jingles, I can't remember. Some of them I can. Oh, now I think that was a googly. Or it seemed to bounce a little bit on him as well. It's gone through the inside edge. Might have been a slight inside edge that's beaten Phil Salt and gone down towards fine leg. Very fine, and they'll get 2 runs.
Talking about the way Pakistan have gone, they went off. They were going at 9 and over, weren't they? Certainly while I was on for the first 5 overs, and then a little bit beyond that. Is it the spin? Is it the spin that has hauled them in?
Well, there's not a lot of spin there.
There's more spin than there is swing, isn't there?
Yeah, but it might be just enough, and it might be that with spin and it being a lot slower, it's harder to get away. It'll be interesting to see how England go about it. That's a slightly shorter delivery, and if the car gets on the back foot, punches it up to long on, and there is a single. I mean, also, you imagine England will go certainly more aerial. They really haven't tried to hit the big shots, have they? And I think this is what Atif was going on about. They look fine in the power play to me, to be fair.
Yeah, very good in the power
as soon
play.
as they got out the power play, they're just too conservative.
He did make the Asia team. The Asia
Like Liz
Cup.
Truss.
Go on.
He made the Asia Cup team of the tournament. Did Mohammed Nawaz?
Did he?
He was the one who smashed it around against India, wasn't it? To pull them out in the Super 4 game or whatever it was. Slapped out to deep mid wicket. Really good bit of fielding. Palmed off to the man who's at cow corner from whoever that was running around the boundary. It might have been Harry Brook. No, it's Luke Wood.
Yeah.
He's got a terrible tash. Don't like that tash. Yeah, you're right. He looks like something out of a First World War movie. About to run over the trenches into no man's land and get shot.
Well, I can see him as a
whatever.
sergeant major look about him.
He's a bit too young for a sergeant major, isn't he? Though, just a little bit. Yeah.
He bowled right. Now that turned quite a lot from Rashid. Bowling over the wicket to the left hand in the Nawaz. Gets it short, gets it to bite a bit, and bounces on him. It comes back into him. He can't do anything with it. Just dribbles back down towards the bowler. Ends his spell. 2 for 27 off 4. Decent return from Adil Rashid. And Pakistan, after 16 overs, 125 for 4 over the turn.
Yeah, Leah Lavender Gorilla is saying, and India are well on their way to failing to defend 208 in Mohali. Jay Graver says, I can't believe I just slagged off Brian about a joke and then heard it's the pepper to his salt. What the fuck is wrong with you? I don't know if that's a rhetorical question from Jay. He also says, this reminds me of the glory days of Test Match Sofa when I was one of the younger listeners. He also says, Hendo's existential range would obviously ease if he had 3 bloody kids. I'd imagine fatherhood is like a lifelong stress-releasing massage.
No.
Not
Well, I don't know.
entirely
I'm stuck between 2 fathers.
It certainly isn't.
Wishing you were farther
and
away.
As they get older, they just bleed you dry.
Well, absolutely.
They suck the money out.
Oh, mate, you haven't even got close with yours yet.
Fucking hell. Willie in. I'm not earning enough. That play back. Come on, Patronus. That's defending back to the bowl and there's no run.
You want to wait till they
kids,
don't start wanting flats. Oh, mind you, you'll be fine, won't you? Because you're in the business.
Exactly. I've already got a
so
wheeze.
You've got
for
that sorted.
Don't you worry. I've got a wheeze for that one.
I wouldn't be surprised.
How does that work then?
Well,
you're not going to tell us?
Oh, I am going to tell
us
you.
off air.
It's a really easy one.
Oh, okay.
It's not very labourish though.
Oh, right.
Well, the fact is that you don't pay tax if it's your house, do you? So I just keep buying houses through my one kid who keeps living with us, and then we make loads of money. Then we don't pay tax on. That's drilled back down the ground by Iftikhar over the bowler's head. David Willey, he's had a pretty poor day. He's gone for. Have they handed that on yet? Is that 35 or 3.2?
Yeah.
It's not particularly good going. And it's 6 runs. He made it into the World Cup squad as well, didn't he?
This is what happens when the Willie doesn't swing.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
It's that was a good shot. I think these straight boundaries, and obviously I've never been to Karachi, but
they look really
they
short.
look quite short, don't they?
A bit, the whole boundary
a bit
system
like
looks
Cardiff,
very short.
somewhere like that.
Yeah. Well, they're well in as well, aren't they? I mean, there's a long space behind them.
That's
advertising
happens these
audience.
days. Too much.
And the rope is in as well, or the sponge, whatever you want to call it. Toe groans. Hoyt pulled by Iftikhar out to Luke Wood at deep backward square leg, long leg. It'll be just a single. See, I like that release point and then off the deck, but unfortunately all England's bowlers are about 1 kilometre an hour from each other. And they're all left arm over.
Well, apart from Richard Gleeson, I suppose, yeah.
Apart from Richard Gleeson.
Yeah.
I do like Richard Gleeson. There is something about him.
Yeah.
He seems to come onto the batter really quite quickly.
He's again, I think you're absolutely right. He's one of those although he's got quite a fast run up, he seems to come off the pitch a little bit more quickly than you expect. And he's got a bit of height as well, hasn't he?
Yeah. Willie in, cut, nicely cut, good stop. I presume that's Luke Wood still down there. He's been brought into the backward point position on the edge of the circle. And it'll be, they'll probably get through for a single. Yeah, get rid of the fucking tash, man.
Yeah, there are some bad touches. I guess also Phil Salt. It's Phil Salt play for now, Lancashire, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought he was running over to Luke Wood there too. I mean, it was a Lancashire thing going on there. He went all the way to the edge of the circle to congratulate him on that piece of fielding.
I'd like to see Woody play, not the other Woody, Mark Wood. Iftikhar, sorry, is it Iftikhar?
Willie.
Yeah, I know, it's Woody bowling. Is it Iftikhar facing?
Yes.
Yes. It was near a Yorker. Managed to chunk it up to long off. There's a single.
Oh, there's a tea moment.
Yeah, it's
Tapple
sponsored
tea
by Tapple. Yes.
Tapple Dane Bar.
It looks terribly civilised.
Very
doesn't it?
civilised in your plastic cups. Where's the china?
No alcohol, of course.
Yeah, of course. That's depressing.
What? For you, it would be.
Yeah, well,
Can you imagine? A 3-month tour of Pakistan and that sort of area with with the bear.
You can get quite a good hash out there. That's down the leg side. You probably can't smoke that in the ground either. It's going to be a wide. And I have a jingle for that. It goes like this. Willie gone for 39 and 3.5 overs, roughly 10 and over. With 1 ball to go. And it's not been very good. I've got 3 overs and I've got 40 runs to play with. Down the leg side, that's another run. 39 make that. Stupid fucker. Just bowl it. Full and on middle stump.
I think he's trying to get the in swing. We did notice that when he came back, he was getting, I think, a little bit of reverse to the right-hander, actually. And I think he's trying to do that, but he's starting it too straight and it's going off down the leg side. But I do think it is reversed because you're getting no swing with the new ball at all. And he normally gets a bit of certainly that swing that comes into the right-hander.
Yeah. Well, it's very humid.
Well, it should swing, shouldn't it?
Well, possibly. It's a full toss on middle and leg. But Nawaz can only hit it up too long on with one hand coming off the bat. And he'll get a single and retain the strike. 137 for 4 after 17, 3 to go. Tone.
Oh, Hattie's with us. The
hello,
Mad Old
Hattie.
Batty. She says, afternoon chaps, from the Mad Old Bat. Between innings treats, she's having a Dame bar.
Ooh. A what?
And crispy pork strips.
Oh, I don't know about those.
Well, crispy, it says they're a bit lighter than pork scratchings, apparently.
I'm not a big pork trashings fan, I have to say.
I'm
I like a good
especially
pork
hairy ones. I'd never.
No, the hairy ones.
I
that's
never
putting.
trust a confection that actually has hair on it when you put it.
What
out
was
the
it? A
packet.
Dane bar? I don't quite know what a Dane bar is.
They're quite nice.
Well,
They're
is
sort
it
of toffee-ish.
chewy,
Yeah,
yeah,
chewy
yeah,
toffee things. Leah has sent a picture of a bulldog, I think.
As you do.
What do you want about? Too young for Sergeant. Meet Sergeant Stubby. He made Sergeant and died when he was 10. Ah.
But he was a dog.
Looking very smart. He might be a Staffordshire Terrier, or a terrier, or is he a bulldog? I'm not sure. Warren says, did Bear just admit to dodging the taxman?
No, I haven't done it
Oh!
yet. Oh! Nawaz going for a big hoik as Luke Wood comes back into the tank. That's his first international T20 wicket. Everyone comes along to congratulate him. It was full, it was straight, and Nawaz lifted his head and tried to plant it out the ground and missed it, and his off peg went flying out the ground. England have another wicket, and this Pakistan innings is subsiding as they go to 135 for 5. Top edge, for fuck's sake. Oh no, he's out. Excellent. Top edge, for fuck's sake. Oh no, he's out.
Is that his first England wicket?
Top edge. For
You'd have to say
fuck's
then,
sake.
why the
Oh,
long
no, he's
face?
out. Excellent. Why the what?
Why the long face?
Yeah.
Hey, boom.
4 off 5, and this is, as I said, subsiding a little bit from Pakistan here. What were they at the end of the power play? About 70?
Well, they were going at 9 over, so they must have been on. Well, they were 9 over when I went out, which was after 5 overs, so that was 45 or more. Yeah, they laid the groundwork, didn't they? But they just haven't been able to push on. I think it is to a certain degree pace coming off the ball.
Well, we shall see when England bats.
Well, yeah.
Judge it after both innings, Hendo.
That's true.
Bit of dew on the pitch.
Yeah, but I
not
do think
necessarily gonna be
I do
There's
think
no dew. When your dew point's 22 degrees, not going to happen.
when you're going, when you're chasing a low target, I think you're really in a very good position batting second.
Yeah.
To be, if you know what the target is and you well, you obviously do know what the target is. What I'm trying to say, if it's a low target, you know how to pace yourself in particular.
Yeah.
If it's 220, then you have to go all guns blazing from the start.
I'm
but
looking
you
forward
don't.
to seeing Hales as well.
Well,
See what
yeah,
he does.
absolutely.
Hales, the gang's all here. Who's this batting? I didn't see who it was come out. Luke Wood in, second ball. He's tried it again, but it's a little bit wider, and it's ended up being a full toss. It's driven up to long off, and there is a single.
It should be Usman Kadir. No, it's Kushil Shah.
Kushil Shah. He has a jingle. Kushil Shah, yeah. Like this.
Wishing I was sure. Look good in one day green. Middle order run machine.
Well, Iftikhar drives the next one out to deep cover and get himself a single. He just missed that, didn't he? He just lifted his head and gave it a big hoik.
Yeah, it was an old-fashioned
There was no
slog.
outs.
But it looks spectacular.
Yeah, it did.
Made two in the Asia Cup final, did Kusadil Shah. Nothing too special.
Well, I mean, that was interesting. I'll come back to it.
Luke Wood in and just dabbed out to point by Kushidil. Got himself a single.
And Sri Lanka are one of the. They have to play in the qualifying tournament, don't they, of the World T20?
Yes. Along with Bangladesh again, isn't it?
Along with Bangladesh,
West Indies?
Ireland, Scotland, Namibia, Netherlands, I think. But that win in the Asia Cup must have given them incredible confidence for a team that was at a really low ebb to have won that competition.
Yeah.
To really pick them up.
Luke Wood in. Attempted Yorker, very good. Right in there, jammed out by Iftikhar. Back to the bowler. No run. Dot ball, 140 for 5. There's only 13 balls left. So they have to go over two a ball for me to lose my money.
It's quite a subdued crowd, isn't it? You get the feeling at the moment they know that perhaps this isn't enough, especially after that start.
Yeah. And of course, Alex Hales and Phil Salt, who will be opening presumably, have both played in a PSL. Luke Wood is in. Oh, horrible. Full toss, but not particularly well struck by Iftikhar. Down to long off. And they will get a single.
Yeah, I think I like the low full toss is sometimes a good delivery at this stage of the game. Tony.
Well, here's a tweet dripping with self-righteous Scouse indignation. Guess who it's from?
Is it Gary?
Cole being laughed out of court when I said that Luke Wood shouldn't play for England. Well,
shouldn't play for King.
No, well, should play. He said should. And apparently there were those who laughed.
Can't think who they would have been.
Well, I didn't know who he was, so it wouldn't have been me.
He said, "Who's that weirdo?"
Warren says, "Did Bear just?" Oh no, I've done that one. Jay Grover says, "People from Karachi and Cardiff both tend to be fairly short in my experience. Coincidence? Well, probably.
Don't know.
Or maybe they just see less sun. I don't know. No, you'd see plenty of sun in Karachi, wouldn't you? This new ECB president says for wrong. Seems like a total wanker prick. Over a few other names. Play Test cricket in England from August onwards so that the BCI IPL can come to play.
Well, Sammy Curran's back and he's been spanked over long leg. It was a pretty shit ball and it might even have been a no ball. Hopefully it's not. It was a waist-high full toss that was on the hip. I think Iftikhar's asking whether it's a no ball as well. But it got what it deserved, which was hoiked over long leg for 6 runs. And it sounds
it's marginal, that one, isn't it? About waist height. I think a difficult one to give.
As you said it for 6, they probably won't give it.
Yeah.
Went a long way up in the air.
Well,
not
it
too far.
Didn't matter because it was miles over the boundary. His signalling wasn't that above my waist. I think it was around about waist height.
Yeah, that one again is into the legs. This time it's actually pitched. and he can't go underneath it. There's an Iftikhar. That's out to Luke Wood. He's everywhere.
I was
He's
gonna say,
bowling, he's fielding.
while the low full toss is quite a good ball at this stage of the game. The high full toss on the leg stump, not so good.
Yeah, it's pretty poor delivery. Sammy Curran and David Willey are the two guys who are both in the World Cup squad, aren't they?
Yep.
Who haven't looked the best, it has to be said.
Plenty of time for them to be injured.
But will the injured ones be able to come back by that point?
David Willey is hardly ever injured. That is a good ball, good slower ball from Sam Curran. Kushadil lifts his head, thinks about spanking it out of the ground, but threw the shot way too early. Bounces through the keeper, and that is no run.
Let's have a little look at GPL on it. Let's see what people are going for.
Well, the lowest was 327. I think that's the lowest.
Ooh,
which would be what, 100?
They need to get 165 in England to.
Yeah, around about there.
Yeah.
Punched out to the cover boundary. One bounce to David Willey out there. It'll be a single.
I think almost everybody's going to be out of it, apart from Hombre Nuevo, because after 327 we've got 357s the next.
Which is what, nearly 180.
Yeah, they're not going to get that, are they? I don't think.
Well, yeah, no. Even then, if England lose, it's worse.
Yes, well, yeah.
327. So what is that? Is half of that?
163. Yeah.
And England win by run.
164 to 163. Yeah.
That's wide on the offside across Iftikhar. Doesn't move his feet. Tries to slap it. Gets a bottom edge. Goes through to the keeper. And there's no one. Doesn't look happy.
He did this in the first over, though, didn't he, Karen? The first one he bowled. He bowled 5 really good balls and 1 absolute shocker.
Yeah.
Well, I think when you are sort of trying to change your pace and put disguise on with almost every ball, it's easy to get it wrong, isn't it?
And to be fair, it's a bloody good comeback, isn't it? He gets smashed for 6 off the first ball, and it's 1.1.
Yeah.
1 ball to go. Followed by the last over. That's into the pitch. Slower ball. Attempts to hoik it as Iftikhar to the leg side. Maybe a bit of a toe end out to sort of man at wide, long on in the middle of no man's land, and it'll be a single. To end that over, 150 for 5. Over to you, Tone.
Yeah, Joe Grover says, I'm a wee bit freaked out that the Bear has just unveiled a low-key plan for human trafficking safe houses. Jeff Perkins says, sorry, go on, you're going to refute that?
The thing is, right, so you buy a house in your own name, you don't pay tax on it. So I was thinking, if I buy a house in my son's name, he can then sell it, have the money, buy another one, and certainly get himself up to a decent style house without having to pay tax. It's not for me.
Jeff Perkins says, if Hendo did have kids, they would probably have to read a weekly family newsletter. Hopefully not the Smacks Your Mum.
Well, a big hoik by Iftikhar. It looks like he's got enough on that. Maybe not. Yeah, he has. Jesus, look at the amount of space there beyond the boundary that's green. I mean, this boundary is fucking tiny. It's 6.
2, 4, 6.
I must say, my son is only 15, so this plan is a long way to fruition, let's be honest.
Yes.
At least you have a plan.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's gone 91 metres. That's a good hit anywhere, to be honest. But you're absolutely right. I think this happens too much with T20 cricket. It's an attempt to make it more appealing by bringing the boundaries in.
Yeah. Full toss has gone away. That's another bloody 6. Look, under 175, I said. No, it's not. He's out.
Cool.
I thought he got enough of that, Iftikhar. I thought it was going way back in the crowd. But he must have hit that horribly. Ben Duckett, he's played in the PSL too.
He has.
And now Iftikhar's going to hang around to see if his toe touched the toe line. And now I'm assuming the fielder is wise enough.
It might also be the height of the delivery, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So they're going to have to look at that, aren't they? From side on. It's very similar to Curran's delivery. Let's have a look.
That's not a
no
ball.
That's not a no ball, I wouldn't have said.
No way is that a no ball.
Then
He's crouched down and it's where it's going to be when it gets to the crease as well, isn't it? Not where it actually, a point of impact. And the point of impact was about waist high. If they give that as a no ball, I'm going to get really fucking upset.
No, I don't think that was a no ball. I think that'd be a poor decision.
No way
it was certainly lower than the current one. Yep, and that's it's been decided.
Iftikhar has a grumble when he goes off. But just because you had a grumble.
Fuck off! Just fuck off!
The crowd
thankfully, that's probably saved my money. Saved my bacon.
Well, they could get 163 here, couldn't they?
No, I need to get 170.
4 balls to go.
I need them to get 170. No, if they get 176, I lose my money.
I'm very surprised they get 176,
Yeah,
but you never know.
You never know.
Naseem Shah at the
3
wicket.
6 at a 4. Naseem Shah
But it's
is at the
Kushadil.
wicket, but he's not facing. It's Kushadil's facing, and he slams that back down the ground. Presumably there's a long on. There he is. It'll only be a single. And it's thrown back into Luke Wood. 6 again off the first ball. Wicket off the second. Very long face, stupid Tash.
Remember, of course, Naseem Shah got those 2 sixes, didn't he, in the semi-final of the Asia Cup against Afghanistan. A really low-scoring game. I think it was 130 odd each, and it went down. He was the last wicket pair were at the crease, and he hit 2 sixes.
Yeah.
So he can bat a little bit. Can
Luke
throw the
Wood
willow.
in. Short, pulled horribly, should be out, is out, caught deep square leg. Sammy Curran catches it. He seemed to duck his head like it was like it was a bouncer, and then swung his bat. Wasn't really looking at it. Got a big top edge, not nearly enough of a contact on it. Cheap wickets at the end, but you got to take them, and successful.
I think he's done
For
very
Luke
well,
Wood.
Luke Wood. For
Yeah,
a debut,
he's done all
he's
right.
done very nicely.
I won't look back. 'Cause by the time that I do, you'll be gone.
Does he give it a bit of a swing with a willow as well, Luke Wood?
I must admit, I don't really know much about his batting. I think what you've got from these guys, Gleeson and Wood, who people wouldn't automatically turn to, is that they really give it 100%.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they're getting a chance later than they
Yeah.
thought they would. But they come out there and they don't sort of slope around the outfield or anything. They're giving it everything.
He can bat, definitely.
Oh, okay. Drilled back down the ground, driven by. Didn't see who it was. It must have been Usman, because Kushadil was facing. And it was a single. No, it must have been Kushadil because Usman hasn't scored.
He's made his maiden championship 100 in only his 8th innings. And Mick Newell, who was director of cricket at the time, said most remarkable innings he'd seen in first-class cricket.
Really? How long ago was that?
About 3 years ago, I think.
Okay.
How old's Luke Wood?
He is 27. He's from
He's not that
Sheffield.
old.
He's not that old. Gleeson's a lot older.
Yeah,
but,
Gleeson's in his 30s, isn't he? But he had a lot of injuries, Gleeson, didn't he? Full again, trying to get in the block hole. Not quite in the block hole, low full toss, but mistimed hoik by Kusadil up to long on. He's not happy, hits his pads with his bat. And that's it, 158 for 7. No one's winning the GPL.
No.
Can anyone, if they
Well, I'm
get
just
a
trying to
6 off the last
158. 158.
No.
158. So if they got level to 158, then hit a 6, that would take them to 164.
Which would be
322, would it?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No winners the GPL.
No winning GPL.
That's a sort of a Pakistan innings in reverse. So, I mean, everyone said they try and be traditional, hold their wickets and then go for a big charge at the end. They charged at the beginning and then just gradually slowed down.
Yeah, exactly. That wasn't a great innings, really, was it? I presume there's only about 5 minutes between.
Watching want to stay here and talk.
Well, I
Yeah.
can finish off a couple of
Oh,
tweets
let's do some
for you.
tweets, yeah.
Yes. Leah has a Soviet joke. She says, you don't pay taxes, you bribe the taxman to go away. Mayank says, Australia are demolishing India. Green has been dropped twice and they're 99 for 1 after 9, chasing that 209. Jay Grover said, Gally doesn't get laughed out of court. He's just not allowed to serve on the jury anymore because he bought in 6 whiteboards, his own markers, and reenacted 12 Angry Men. Just because some poor wee smackhead got accused of nicking cornflakes. Warren says, shall we set up a GoFundMe for Bear's children's legal fees? Well, there
Or
you
Bear's
go.
bail, probably, after he's been in prison. Just to say that looking at that, 85. So they
In 58 balls.
In 58 balls, which is what 6 into 58, 6 nines of 50.
Just shy of 10 overs.
Yeah. So with all those wickets in hand, they would have hoped to get a hell of a lot more than another 73 runs,
yeah,
wouldn't
exactly. Totally.
And Luke Wood comes out of it with the best figures.
3 for 24.
But I thought Rashid was probably the main man.
He got Babur Azam, didn't he?
Yeah, once he came on.
Didn't he also get Rizwan?
Yeah. So
he got 2 main men.
Yeah. Wood's got good figures, 3 for 24. Willie didn't bowl particularly well, none for 41. Gleeson, none for 13 off 2. Moeen, 1 for 23 off 2. And that's about it. Curran, 1 for 30. Any more tweets?
I was looking at something else, so you caught me on the hop. I tell you what, give me 2 seconds and I'll just check YouTube out, because we haven't even looked at that today, and it may be just absolutely jumping.
The Spannermen.
It may do. Well, actually, while you're doing that,
there's quite a lot of people there on
we should
YouTube.
talk about Patreon.com. Patreon.com is the way that you can help Guerrilla Cricket, and not only do you get 1,000 hours of commentary per year from us, which is free at the point of use, but if you become a patron, you get the Bishop and Bear podcast, and you get the Smaximum weekly news and views letter, and they are worth having. I think it's fair to say they're quite good fun. A little bit different from your average cricket literature. Funnily enough, I saw a thing the other day on Crick Info. It was an article, and at the top of it, it had satire. And I think that was based, in case people didn't realise, and suddenly started getting all excited about something that wasn't really happening. But yes, if you can possibly help us out, I've got a horrible feeling that there aren't too many of you who aren't patrons listening to us today. We haven't had anyone sign up, but if you can, have a look at our pinned tweet on our tweet timeline, and there you will find last week's Maximum, which gives you an idea of the kind of thing that we're writing. Some of it's fun, some of it's satire, some of it's deadly serious.
Well, I can tell you, we had Atif Nawaz on the
podcast
in the Bishop and Bear last week, and that he was great fun. He was telling us about the money he's raising to support flood relief in Pakistan.
I thought you could say he was telling you about the money he was making off the BBC.
No. Well, he did talk about that a little bit, but, not that we can repeat.
Okay.
What else? And we got Jules Farnham this week.
Oh, right.
She'll be popping in for a drink. Well, it'll be out on Thursday.
Right.
But she's coming into, we're going to talk cricket, normal stuff. We're going to be talking
about
this
scoring.
Game.
And
but she's going to talk about being the first woman,
or the first
pairing of women ever for a UK Test match in this country. Well, obviously a UK Test match in this country. Yeah, so we're excited to make room on the bar stool of bravado for her. I'm going to say some hellos on YouTube. Yankee 7000, Dara Azizi, Dan De Castro, a few people. Emily Elizabeth, hi to you. Just popping in for a chat for a minute, but we'll be listening while working. Well, hello again then. Suitor Who, as ever. The Spannermen are out in great force. Let me see who else. The Curran should be nowhere near the team in all formats. Sammy Curran did okay here. We shall see. Discussion around Compton. Tony says Hales could have dived. Added suggestion of, is he fully committed to England or the Hales of 3 years ago? Did I say that? I mean, he certainly should have dived. I genuinely think there were two that he waved through to the boundary rather apologetically, which I thought was poor.
Well, I thought the first one he seemed to accompany the ball and sort of run alongside it rather than
I don't think
stooping.
I think that second one was.
I think the second one he just given it up. He just gave it up, didn't he? So I think
Poke is with us.
I think you were being a bit harsh, Tony.
Well,
in my own opinion.
Let's see if he
You're
goes
getting
out
behind fucking Owen Morgan, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I merely commented.
Middlesex, they always stick together.
On the fact
boys,
he was actually born in Middlesex. I might point out was Alex Hales.
Oh right, okay.
Hillingdon, was he born in Hillingdon?
Hillingdon, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Let me see. Pokey, afternoon all. Cottage cheese and lettuce sarnies for tea. Oh Lord, not too shabby for rabbit food. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Hello, Gorilla World. Stephen Kelk says, just tuning in after work. What have I missed? Looks like a run rate of 9 over. It was. What did it end up as per over?
Just
short of 8. Yeah, just short of 8. Yeah.
I think England will be happy with where things ended up.
You know, 8 and over is not easy.
No.
That's a starting to look old, isn't he?
Ollie Pope got 136. Says easy Ollie. Says Ollie Pope got 136 off I think 131 balls as well. Very much taking to Bazball seemingly. Yes, indeed. There's a few more. Let me see. People enjoying the condiment puns apropos of Phil Salt. Easy Ollie talking about James and his vinegar thing. He says he's been waiting for that vinegar joke for a long time. Yes, he probably had. Stephen Kelk says, does anyone know the joke about the guy with an orange for a head? I think many people consider that the devil's work. I'd consider a donation to Guerrilla Cricket if that joke would be read out on air. I'm sure Tony would be able to tell it masterfully. I would if I knew it. Or it's probably one of those jokes that I did once know and it's gone somewhere in the memory.
Something about, what do you call a man with an orange head?
No, a man for an orange for a head, yes.
What do you call a man with For an
Well,
orange
no,
for a
no,
head.
no, no. What it says, does anybody know the joke about the guy with an orange for a head? I think many people consider that the devil's work. Okay.
No.
But if you read, well, I tell you what, I will quite happily, assuming it's not absolute filth, read.
In fact, if it is, you're more likely to read it
Well,
out.
if you sort of somehow get it to me, Stephen, I'll give it a go. But I can't honestly recall it at the moment. Is it like a man who had a shovel on his head, you know, dug and all those kind of things?
It must be one of those.
Is it one of those? Man with an orange
know.
for a head. Pip.
How come Butch gets to go out? They leave NASA at home. Do you think NASA didn't want to go?
Yeah, probably NASA didn't want to go.
No, because I think they've all, for the T20s, they've just sent Butch to do the on-the-ground stuff, and all the rest are commentating off tube, I think.
No, they're not. No,
are they not?
No, Gower's out there. Gower looks like he's out there as well.
So he's doing the... is he back on Sky then?
He's back on Sky. Well, whether he's... Yeah.
Are you sure they're not? I think they're in the studio, though. I don't think they're out there.
Well, no, because...
No, I think NASA and Ian Ward are in the studio, but I think the others are out there in Karachi. I mean, I noticed even that Times hadn't sent anyone to for these T20s. They're using a local writer for that.
I think they'd offered it to... that was one of the jobs that Atif got offered, I think, and they weren't offering enough. It wasn't worth it.
Weren't offering enough?
Yeah.
Really?
Not to do writing, to do presumably their highlightsy stuff that they pay Sky for, or whatever it is. That Dan used to do. Yeah, when he used to do the highlights thing for about 5 minutes for shitloads of cash.
Oh yeah, that was a great deal.
I think
yeah.
it was that kind of thing. That obviously, it's probably cheaper these days. And the BBC are doing it off tube.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, we set the trend. We set the trend, didn't we?
Well, we did, yeah.
Back in 2009. So, so there you go. 158 for 7 Pakistan. If you're waiting and wondering what's happening, why we're wibbling away, we're just waiting for the England reply to start. We're in the middle of the interval. 158 for 7. They were 85 for no wicket at one point, and Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam were batting pretty well. Rizwan went on, didn't he? Babar Azam just seemed to get slowed down and ended up, Rizwan got 60 odd and Babar only ended up with 31 was it in the end? So maybe there is something in this fact of Babar Azam not having more than one gear. I don't know. We'll have to see a lot more of him, I think, and we will see a lot more of him over the next few months.
Yeah.
But he's a class player to watch. He's
class
lovely
player
to watch. So yeah, any more? What are you looking for? Are you looking for the orange joke?
I am.
Bowlers with pace over.
It's a bit odd as well, so I'm not sure I fully understand it.
Well, don't read it out.
So I'm not going to read it out. And it's also not what do you call a man with something on his head?
Oh, it's not one of those.
Not one of those. No, it's rather more sort of weird and long than that. Like a man who goes into a bar.
Well, we're looking at the sort of a number of the Pakistan bowlers,
pacey bowlers
during the PSL.
And all over the place. They've got, in the Asia Cup, they're just showing the amount of balls bowled over 87 miles an hour. 237 by Pakistan. Next highest was Sri Lanka on 85.
That said, pace isn't always the best thing. I mean, it's got to be extreme pace, hasn't it, really, in T20s?
That's what they're implying.
87, I suppose, is. Yeah, I suppose it.
And maybe it's the only way of taking wickets in Pakistan. In which case, we're fucked in the test matches.
Well, unless one or two people come back. We're not expecting Jofra Archer to be coming back until one of the franchise tournaments after in the new year, are we? That's
for the IPL.
The latest.
Well, he was going to get paid. He got picked up for 14 mil or 7 mils, which they figured was good enough for one season, wasn't it? So presumably they're hoping he comes back this year.
Right, who's on now? We've got
me,
the Bear
Messi.
Again. 2 in a row.
Yeah,
I'm going to go. I'm going to go and circulate Smaximum, I think was my brief.
Yeah, you two are off. I'm on this one, next one. In fact, so I don't get a break basically for fucking hours.
No, look for me, it's only a T20. You're the one who said it's only a T20.
Sorry, it is only a T20. All right, Josh, how you doing? Come on, Messi.
Yeah,
there you go.
Not bad at all. I'll watch you, Jez.
Oh, I better change that over.
Jeremy better unmute himself.
Yeah, better unmute himself. Right, we ought to play some jingles because we're starting off. We're going to have the first ball first. Nasim Shah is going to come in to bowl to Phil Salt, who mashes it through the offside. There's no one out there. And the first ball of the innings goes for 4. Bowled by...
When the sea shot and told, he said to his dad that you're the man of the house now because Nasim Shah
Yeah, I remember when he first came into. He was about 17, wasn't he, when he started playing for the Test side, bowling quick. His first ball's gone for 4. Second ball is edged down through the slips and well fielded by third man. He has to come round or get a single. Rizwan rugby passes it onto the stumps whilst Hales is standing. Hales! 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 The man's all here. Where is he? There he is.
Hales, Hales, the gang's all here. What a Lex to recap, what a Lex to recap. Hales, Hales, the gang's all here. What a Lex to recap now.
And I'm glad he's back in the bloody side. Morgan was stupid. Fair enough to give him a little time out, but he's clearly one of the better openers. He's played in the PSL as well, and his first ball is going to be 5 wides, I fear, because I don't think it actually swung. Maybe you can get this wing. See, the release speed is 144 kilometres an hour, and like England's is about 137. But yeah, it's going to be 5 wides, so it's going to be one of these, and
wide. 5 of those.
2, 3, 4.
5 of them.
We need a 5 wides jingle.
Well, that's how I do it, wide and then a 4. So he
I
makes
prefer to play the wide jingle 5 times.
No, I used to do that. Goes on too long. Naseem Shah is in and attempted to jab down towards backward point by Hales. Misses it. It's very full by Naseem Shah. And is no run. England started well, I suppose. 10 off what? Essentially 3 balls. And
10 off 2 a ball ago.
Yeah, true. I think the stats I've got for the PSL are only last season, because it didn't have Moeen Ali on there, and I know he's played in the PSL. Smashed square on the offside, stood and delivered. I imagine the batsmen actually quite like the pace as well if they get it wrong. It's 4 runs.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Let me have a look.
Was this the shortest ever gap between England cricketing summer and winter, or at least international summer and winter?
I don't know. Something like that, I'd have thought. Right, let's have a look at Alex Hales, his PSL career. Driven at. There is a man at sort of backward point, deep set gully on the edge of the circle. And he can't beat him. And therefore it will just be no run. Harry Brook, he's played out there. Harry Brook, obviously. Chris Jordan's played out there of this squad. Liam Dawson, I don't expect him to get game. PSL 2022 stats: 255 runs at 42.5, strike rate of 156. That's not bad. High score of 82. That was 2022 PSL. He attempts to cut that. No foot movement. He misses it. Goes through to the keeper. Well, they run 14 off the first over over to Messi. There's a cat on my screen.
Okay. There's some talk about the man with the orange head joke, which I found, and I posted it for Tony on WhatsApp. It's the sort of joke you only want to tell when everybody's really pissed.
I quite like it.
Yeah, but it needs really good telling and.
Can you turn yourself up a bit, Messi? You're a bit quiet.
Oh, sorry, the mic was a bit far away. And Jay says it's maybe not a joke for the 2020s or indeed any sober audience. And he also says, hooray, Josh!
2020 matches or the decade is he talking about there?
I think he's talking about the matches. He also says, is Josh auditioning for a Blade Runner remake?
I presume that's a reference to the sun streaming in through my Cardiff
through
study
the blinds,
window.
Yes.
Well, you've just come back from Crete, haven't you? So presumably you need all the sun you can get to maintain the familiarity of that.
Yeah, indeed. I tell you what, it was a lovely, lovely week to be away from the madness that is.
God, weren't you fucking lucky?
These islands. And also to come back, arriving 4 o'clock on a Monday morning and not to have to go to work because Brenda's given us a bank holiday.
Yeah, well, driven at. First of all, the next over. By Salt, who haven't played his jingle. by Nawaz, and there is no run. I presume it's Mohammed Nawaz, isn't it?
No, I was.
The winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this sun.
Of Pakistan.
I presume that was, I don't know when that was made for. Cut by Phil Salt out to cover, and there is no run.
I think that's our best jingle.
Quite a tight umbrella on the offside, and there's no run. I should play Phil Salt his jingle. Sounds like this. He cuts the next ball straight to cover once more. No run.
Into the offside. Skulls runs around the park. There's no way you can hide. Push it. Salt, yeah, Phil is here.
If I am doing a Blade Runner audition, it's Blade Runner as Blofeld in Blade Runner.
cross between Blade Runner and Bond. That one is more leg side. It does turn a little bit. And Salt can't beat the bowler as he tries to prod it up to long on. And there is no run. Presumably, I mean, actually, playing in a PSL, you know, Pakistani cricket crowds quite like Indians. They're very excitable, very loud. Probably can be quite unnerving if you've not played there before, but a lot of these guys will be used to it.
Opposed to English cricket fans who are the...
Yeah, I was just going to think the Holly
stand of sobriety.
Well, yeah. Seems a bit more high-pitched out there, though. But they don't drink, so I mean, it's England, it's drunken, isn't it? Whereas out there, they're quite straight. That's Hoyt up too long on by Phil Salt. He'll get himself a single, 15 for none, after 1.5 overs. One ball to come in a second. Nawaz has had a good first over, only gone for one run. Maybe it is the spinners, maybe it is the pace-off that's going to help keep the score down. It's quite a nice stadium, Karachi.
Is it pretty full?
It looks reasonably full, it has to be said. And where is Karachi in Pakistan? Is it on the coast?
Yes.
That's driven back to the bowler and there's no run.
It's on the south coast.
Does that mean it's not been affected by the floods? Presumably not. About a third of the country has been.
Yeah, I think that's up in the towards the mountains.
Sort of in the north of the country. But
I think so.
I don't know.
Jeff Perkins has sent us an alternative joke. Alternative man with an orange for a head. The year is 1700. A man walks into a bar. The barman asks him where he's from, and he says England. Ah, says the barman. That explains why you have an orange as your head then. Which makes about as much sense as the original joke.
No, it makes a lot more sense than the original joke, but it's not as funny as the original joke.
I haven't seen this original joke. I'm going to go and look at it now. Dahani, Shanawaz Dahani is going to bowl. I have a jingle for him. I'll play it after this ball. First ball, driven by Salt. Can't beat cover and there's no run. He sounds
quite
like
time
this.
that, did he?
No. Jesus.
Got some great jingles for this game.
Love it.
Although the Nawaz one is up there with my favourite. It's up there for me with the loot right. That didn't loot right.
So if you buy a KFC, that's driven, that's nice. It's over the top and mid-off. That's good. Aerial. Play it over the infield. Good shot by Salt. Gets himself 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Picked it up, played it straight. Over the top and mid-off. And raced away to the boundary. Doesn't look easy to time it, has to be said.
No, on my screen I thought there was a touch of leading edge on that.
Nah.
A little bit more than I thought he had. Previous one, I think he'd been a bit late onto it.
He's certainly got enough of it. This one is pulled. It's into the ground. Could be out. Is out. Ooh!
It is out. Ooh!
Ooh! Did he? I don't think he did because he would know. But I'll probably have a look at it.
Looks good to me.
It does. Phil Salt has pulled that sweetly, but straight down mid-wicket's throat. He's on the edge of the boundary. He has to jump up and catch it. It manages to land inside the boundary. Phil
Just
Salt
that
can't
question,
believe
we'll
it.
have a look.
He
There's just
thought-
that question of whether
Nah.
one of his feet touched the boundary sponge on the way down. I'm sure they'll have a look at it because it was relatively close, but it looks absolutely fine to me.
But I can run him out
Yes,
now.
we're seeing
He's
the
heading
replay
off to the
now.
boundary. It was a cutter into the pitch. He did pull it rather well. He must have known he hit it straight at the fielder. He's well inside the circle. He jumped back, heels back. Foot never gets anywhere near the sponge. And that's a clean catch. Phil Salt is the first to go. He'll feel really annoyed with himself. And well, he might. But
Lovely bit of footwork there by Hyder Ali. It was the kind of thing where his natural momentum in holding that catch would have taken him out of the
well, certainly backwards, but
out
that
of
was
bounds and backwards. But he managed to check himself in landing, and actually, I think he checked himself even to some degree while in the air. Insofar as that's possible.
He
Lovely piece of work
he was
to stop himself either falling over or making contact with the boundary sponge.
Yeah, he was very aware where the sponge was, wasn't he? It's a wicket.
Sounds like something from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Another one bites the dust. I think that is going to be out, Fred. Another one bites the dust.
And now, up to the crease is...
Introducing the next generation David.
That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name.
David Milan, congratulations.
Yeah. Darren Milan, next man, 19 for 1 after 2.3 overs. Started in the first over with 15 off the first over. Done bugger all since then. 1-4, and a man's got out. 10 of 10 for Phil Salt. He felt maybe a little bit unlucky. Oh dear. There's an appeal for caught behind. Well, he didn't get anywhere near it.
Celeb appeal from the keeper.
It's
but,
really celeb appeal. But there was nothing on it. And Barbara's arms indicating I didn't hear anything on it. But Rizwan went up straight away. It was like, I've caught that. That was outrageous. I didn't think he got anywhere near it.
They're not bothering to review, are they?
No, they're not bothering to review. Barbara's
Why would
arm
you?
saying he didn't hear anything. I don't think he got anywhere near it.
No.
he's nowhere
there's
near
a ball's
that.
width between bat and ball.
Yeah. I think maybe his bat hit his pad. And maybe that's what Rizwan heard.
Yeah,
possibly.
I think that's right.
I mean, I'm not sure bat and ball were even in the same postcode.
No, they weren't really. Anyway, Dahani in again. This time it's on the pads of Milan, who works at square. Back for the square. Gets himself a single, gets himself off the mark. Now Milan, I don't think has played in the PSL. I'll have to check on that. Yeah, it's nowhere near the bat. It's literally a ball's width away from the bat. It's so far from the bat. Rizwan's like, it's something. Yeah, come on, dude. A little bit excitable. That's a nose that man's got.
One ball left in the third over.
Hales, one ball left in the third over, as you said there, Josh. He's going to face up to this last ball from Dahani. 5 for 1, drilled, nice shot. Beats the man at cover, which Phil Salt couldn't do in the previous over. And it goes all the way out to the boundary. 4 more runs. Just set himself, hit it on the top of the bounce. Not a lot of bounce here, so you're quite confident if it's short you can get on top of it. It seems to skid off the surface. He was able to
Really
pick his spot.
threw his hands at that one.
Yeah, he did. There was no foot movement at all. His foot went down the line of middle stump, and the ball
People
was...
more keen on cliches might even refer to the kitchen sink being thrown.
Well, possibly.
Jay says, yes, Bear, Pakistanis do not drink. You're right, there is lots of cheras, also lots of booze which makes you blind. Good night, terrifying morning.
Yeah.
And Mayank says there's been lots of flooding from insane amounts of rain just outside of Karachi in the Sindh and Baluchistan province, as well as northwest part of the country, north of Peshawar, due to water running down from the mountains.
Yeah.
Double whammy of floods there.
Yeah, it's like a third of the country is underwater, and it has been criminally underreported. I mean, usually these sorts of national disasters are all over the news, everywhere. I mean, the fucking Queen's death has probably, not helped. Down the wicket comes Dawar Milan and clips that sweetly. Beats the man at mid-on in the circle. There is a guy sort of halfway between Cow and long on, very wide long on I suppose, who comes across the field and only be a single.
I mean, has the Queen's death helped anything except, my recovery from a 3:30 a.m. landing at Cardiff Airport, giving me a day off yesterday?
Well, the one thing it fucking has helped is the bloody Tory government coming out with a bunch of shit policies that have been completely fucking put out under the radar. It's a fucking disgrace. That's my rant for the day.
I'm just picturing Brenda holding on, desperate to outlast Johnson. So
there must have been something about that. There's a gasp of relief when he finally gone. She thought, I can let go now. That one is nicely cut by Hales. Beats again cover, picks his spot, makes its way down to the boundary. It'll be 4 more.
So how mad has the last week been? I left Sunday afternoon last week, and all I'd really caught was, advertising hoardings had been given over to pictures of her face on a black background.
The queue has taken over our lives. That is down the track comes Hales, and checks his shot a bit, but guides it to backward point beyond the fielder, and there is no run. Sorry, someone's trying to call me. I will have to call them back when I'm not off air for another 20 minutes or so, aren't I?
I was basically only looking at my phone twice a day, and my only real contact with the UK was the Guerrilla Cricket WhatsApp group. So I think it was you, Jeremy, who shared the DCMS queue tracker.
It's just been insane, Josh. I mean, I actually got a friend who's a cameraman. He works at Channel 4 News, and he went down. I'm going to give you a bit of inside goss. That is clipped up to mid-on. There's no run, and he basically quit after about 4 days. And he does the news all the time. And it's like he said to his producer, "I can't do this anymore. It's fucking insane. These people are mad," which was quite entertaining. And he had that argument with one of the presenters who couldn't understand why he was saying that, but then he kind of talked around his point of view. That one is clipped nicely down to beat back square leg, and there's no run. He had a chat with Christian Gurumurthy, and there was
one run.
One run, sorry. There weren't very many people of ethnic minorities in the queue. It's it's basically a bunch of crusty old white people mainly. Funnily enough, fucking ridiculous. Alex Hales is facing up, clips it up to mid-on. He's on the edge of the circle. I think about single, but no, it's not there.
I mean, the thing that struck me in the few times I did look at the British media was people referring to mourners as if all the people in the queue were mourners in the same way that the people going down to the Olympics in 2012 were sports fans. Yeah. My mother went to watch some kind of Paralympic sport or other in 2012, and she was there, and I think that's what it was about for her, and good on her for being part of the number of spectators, but to say that she was particularly interested in what's going on would be something of an exaggeration. And I'm mildly curious, not as to how many of these people were mourning. I think the answer to that's quite a fraction that's pretty close to zero.
Yes.
But I am curious as to why they're all reported as mourners rather than people who wanted to feel like they were part of history or whatever.
Exactly, but that was also fucking puke-inducing. I mean, endless fucking vox pops of people in queues. That's like, how much more can you prattle on about the same fucking shit? Milan attempts to drive that back past the bowler, misses it completely, beats his outside edge. Through to the keeper, and there's no one. Dahani continue. He's got 1 for 9 with 1.1 overs, 33 for 1 England in the 5th.
I can tell you the only live television I've watched in the last 10 days has been sport. But in the middle of the AFL semi-final, they said, coming up on the 7 News headlines, do you know what the lead item was? David Beckham standing in the fucking queue for 8 hours in Australia. Jesus,
yesterday on...
I mean, you voted for her, Jeremy.
Yeah, driven by Milan. Can't beat mid-off. Didn't time it particularly well. He'll get himself a single.
No one ever gave us a vote as to whether we wanted her.
Yeah, no. But I mean, yesterday, every Sky movie channel wasn't playing movies all day.
You're fucking joking.
No, it was all,
You should demand a refund of your subscription.
fucking joke, man. If you didn't want to watch
well,
it yesterday, it was really difficult.
I watched the whole of the first series of Mr. Mercedes yesterday, which was much better than watching any funerals.
And there were no adverts on British TV yesterday. All the channels that basically stopped having adverts and just put up a, still in memorial of the
Oh, so they
Queen.
still had breaks? Just
They had breaks. And like, I was watching a movie last night at about 1 o'clock in the morning on Film 4. That one's into the pads of Hales. Was that an appeal by the bowler? If it was, it's terrible. I was going miles down leg side. He got a thick inside edge onto the top of his pad, and they scooped through for a single. And they literally stopped for about fucking 5 minutes and just basically had this still going. We're not playing ads because the Queen has died, essentially. We will be back shortly. It's like, well, if you're not going to have ads, can you just not just play the fucking movie? And save me 5 minutes of my time.
The reason they can't do that is that their schedules have to allow between movies the preset amount of
time for the ad breaks.
But surely they could like show an episode of Red and Stimpy or something like that in the gap.
Now that would be disrespectful to the Queen, Darren Milan faces up. Dahani is in. Pulled, nice shot by Milan. Just hoiks that square on the leg side, front of square actually, out to remove wicket. Good shot, 4 runs. We do a change at the end of this over. Hendo's going to come and join me and Josh. And Josh is going to take over the ball by ball. Good shot by Darren.
Leah says, holy shit, Karachi has 15 million inhabitants with a density of nearly 4,000 per square kilometre. And Sligermeister says, that's Asia for you. Check out the Dhaka stats.
Yeah. I was going to say, when someone's talking about alcohol makes you blind, the same thing happens in Kenya quite a lot, except for people die. That one is a slower ball by Dahani, and Milan just jabs at square to point, and there's no run.
Yeah, in Uganda it's regulated and licensed, and anyone can brew their own gin. Often they use bicycle frames as the fractional distilling apparatus, but because it's licensed and regulated, it's also a lot less dangerous.
Yeah, it's not in Kenya, but people do it because obviously it's cheaper. And then you get these odd cases on the news where people went to a Friday night party and 20 odd people have died from methanol poisoning, which is not a good thing.
No.
Last ball of my spell. Dahani is going to bowl it. He's bowling at Dawa Milan, who just guides that. That's a typical Dawa Milan shot. So lets it run off the face. There is a man at a sort of he's at a deep set gully on the edge of the circle. It's not even a gully. It's probably about a 4th slip in line there, short third man. But Dawa Milan is very good at that. He just guides it into the space. He can't get across to cut it off. And he will get 4 runs. No, just press the cross at the top. That's the one. And that's the end of my spell. Josh, over to you.
Mr. Henderson, I have been expecting you.
Yes, indeed. Where are you up to, Messi?
Brian Barish 5 minutes ago, Hendo.
There's several. Seems to be 1 or 2 from Brian.
6 minutes ago.
I'm
more concerned with British cops.
Okay, I'm more concerned with British cops using the opportunity to copy some of their American counterparts and wield their power and billy clubs towards anyone who even sneezes wrong in the Queen's direction.
Yeah, that's true.
well, yeah, I mean that's just daft, isn't it? But I mean it's the shape of things to come with this government, I'm afraid.
Yeah, the arrest of people for protesting in a relatively civil was the word I'm looking for, manner, as this time Hales has cut the ball out to gully and he's been taken,
No, he hasn't. It's gone into the ground.
Did it not quite carry?
No, it didn't carry.
Gone anywhere near. I think you must have a very, very sort of I'm worried about your feed. Your feed, if you.
My eyesight. I've been drinking too many illicit Kenyan spirits. I couldn't quite see if that had carried, and I was trying to work it out from the reaction. Couldn't quite get there.
Ooh.
This time Hales doesn't get hold of it at all, but it squirts off his front pad into the short leg area, and the batters can scamper a single.
Check out Daggerstat says Snigermeister. Brian Barris also said, oh, we've done that one. I didn't really see anyone give a shit in Sheffield, not nearly as daft as when I flew back from Ghana in 2008 and we got the free paper saying people were calling for Beckham to be exiled to St Helena. People are audio. Not that surely wasn't 2008, that must have been 98, wasn't it? Are you talking about when Beckham kicked out during the World Cup and got sent off?
Yeah, that was against. Who was that against?
That was against Argentina.
It was against Argentina.
But it was 98, not 2008.
Yeah, wasn't it Batistuta he kicked out at?
Unless he did something in the 90s.
Did he do something in
2008
Euros?
Euros?
Nothing that comes to mind.
It was Diego Simeone, wasn't it? The man who's now at Atletico, and he collapsed like a, pack of the spuds.
As this time there's a swish by Milan, doesn't quite find the edge. England suddenly looking rather less comfortable. They're 44 for 1, 3 balls into the 6th over.
Yeah, Jay goes on to say Channel 5 played the Emoji Movie.
Yes, I saw that. I started watching it because it's better than the fucking funeral.
I'm loving this Q commentary, says Clive Brooks.
Yeah, the Q.
Have we jingled up the bowler?
Oh no, who's the bowler?
It's Harris Ralph.
Harris Ralph. Here's Jingle. Less sweary.
In he comes over the wicket to Milan, who this time somewhat more poise pushes the ball out onto the offside for a single.
Brian goes on to say, of course, the morning period coincided with the AFL Women's Indigenous round, and no one who wasn't Indigenous could understand why these women thought it was in bad taste to honour the Queen during that particular round. Special guest at tea time, Oliver Cromwell. Keep up the good work, says Tawit Tawu. And Jay says, don't worry, it's going to happen again. Well, at least until David Attenborough dies. Well, he was at the funeral, wasn't he? He was.
Yeah, well,
he deserves.
He deserves a fucking great send-off.
Well,
but
yes.
it won't be for 10 days.
No.
And I doubt we'll be monitoring a Q24 fucking 7. Jesus.
Ralph into the right-handed Hales, who pushes off the back foot to extra cover. They scamper a single, a wide mid-off really. Single scampered. The ring is back, allowing the batters the single for the one that is not hit quite so crisply, which is what happened there. And rotating the strike.
Just a single.
Relatively effectively. Yeah. Just a single.
Jay Gerber says 98. Sorry, yes, that's right.
Has Jay lost 10 years in some kind of alcoholic stupor?
Yeah. Ralph, of course, is the man who bowls with that funny little wobble halfway through his run-up, isn't he? I'm trying to remember how we described it. We had a couple of really good descriptions for it when we first saw him. But it's a
quiver like a perfectly baked creme brulee, isn't it? As this time Milan gets onto the back foot, works the ball off his hip out towards deep backward square. Did they get back from 2? No,
just the one.
Not just the one out to deep backward square there. Had he hit it a little less hard, they might have got back for the second in this case.
I mean, one of the things I would say,
England require 112 off 84. Sorry, Nigel.
Yeah, one of the things I was going to say about the Queen was that by the time you got to the funeral, you felt like you'd seen all the processions already.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I think, it lost some of the significance because...
Did you actually have to watch it?
Well, I watched it all the way through yesterday because I was working. So yes, I did watch the whole thing. I mean, I wasn't paying, 100% attention to every moment, but I did kind of have to have an idea of what had gone on. So I think once you'd had her lying in state and the fact, or you'd had her brought down from Scotland, and we had the procession that day. Yeah. It wasn't significantly different, was it? It was the same music.
Well, the other thing, I mean, I do have a problem with the church, obviously.
Well, that's another matter.
Another issue.
Anyway,
the church, problem with the monarchy.
Yeah, problem with a lot of this shit.
Well, I have a problem with the government more than anything.
Yes.
How do you cram 30,000 people into a square kilometre? I mean, how does that compare with somewhere like London, the Karachi?
I imagine it's much denser.
Well, I know, but how much more? I mean, I think to get an idea of.
Well, do you want me to actually try and work this out?
Well, yes, I want someone to tell me.
Okay.
I'm not really good at square kilometres and
area of Karachi.
Changing bowling. Usman Kadir is coming on, by the way.
Should I give him a jingle?
Just give him a jingle.
So he is.
Son of Abdul.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Right arm over the wicket, floats it up to the left-handed Milan, who goes straight and high. He clears the straight-ish long-off boundary for 6 runs.
What happened there?
I mean, his action is almost a complete copy of his father's. Unfortunately, he just didn't manage to pitch the ball then. Everything else looked good.
That. Floated up, this time on a good length. Milan looks to repeat the shot, hits it straight into the bowler's hands, and he's gone caught and bowled. Change of bowling has worked. Kadir has gone for 6 and then taken the wicket of David Milan, caught and bowled with his second ball.
So get on your bike and take a hike right out of here. Your history, no good for me. Your history,
Brian Barry says Attenborough was window shopping his own funeral. That's harsh. Jeff Perkins says, are these fines are there fines for a slow queue rate? Warren says, has GC Radio gone full QAnon? And brief serious point from Jay. Goodness me, we can't have that. He says, not a greatest fan of the police, but I'd imagine it was stopping the crowd from assaulting the protesters and not kicking the shit out of protesters for the fun of it. Well, there was one situation, I think, where the police moved in, but before the police got there, the bloke was pretty much decked by a royalist, if you want to call them that.
What was the guy doing?
Well, he's just gone. I think he was the one who shouted at Prince Andrew. That was really only that sort of moment. Go on, you're going to do maths for us, Bear.
Population density of London is 5,700 people per square kilometre.
Right.
Population density of Karachi is 24,000 people per square kilometre.
As the new, as yet unup jingled batsman cuts out just in front of square to extra cover for an ambled single.
Why have I got this jingle out here?
Because you're looking at English jingles.
Yeah, I know, well, exactly. And he's a new English batsman, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, who we...
Liam Livingston. Is he out there? He's not
Nope.
playing at the moment, no.
No, it's Duckett.
I know it is, but I've got to find a space for him.
Kadir into the right-handed Hales, who just pushes the ball gently past cover point. It's fielded by the deep cover, running in for a single.
We have disagreed.
Duckett back onto strike. Let's hear his jingle if you found it yet, Bear.
I have, of course. You can talk over the top of it.
Kadir into Duckett, lets the ball sail past his outside edge, where it's taken by the wicketkeeper. No run.
That was a huge googly. That's gone a long way from Kadir, beating him on the outside edge. Remember, of course, Ben Duckett having all that trouble when he first came into the England Test side when they went to Bangladesh and India.
He was terrible.
Kadir in again. This time Duckett premeditates a reverse sweep. He can do no better than to pick out the deep point fielder for a single.
It was very well struck, but as you say, hit it straight to the man. That was the problem. Now, we have a disagreement here. You've got that thing up saying London's population density is 5,700 per square kilometre. Leah says London is about 15,000 per square kilometre.
Presumably it depends on where you mark the edge of London to be.
Possibly.
I mean, if you include all the...
Is that, well, London presumably includes Greater London.
Right, okay. Well, maybe Leah can clarify that, where she's got her figure from.
Mine's from Google.
Well, there you go.
We have another change of bowling. Presumably Bear's not going to bother
yeah, I can do. No, we've had Nassim Shah already.
Yeah, but do him again because he's coming back.
No, I don't do jingles for
That's
bowlers
what I'm saying. Presumably you're not going to jingle him up because he's back on to replace Rauf.
It's my policy.
It's not a bad policy. It gives us more time to wibble and get through some tweets.
No, we're up to date on tweets at the moment.
God, hurry up, readers, listeners. Nazim continuing after a break, replacing Rauf, and Duckett looks to work him off. He's not looking comfortable against pace either, looks to work him off his legs, can only squirt the ball out to mid-wicket for no run.
Well, England are I think they're a little bit behind where Pakistan were at this stage. They certainly lost more wickets. They didn't lose their first wicket, Pakistan, until they got 85.
What's the equation? 103 off 78 required, I think it is. 79? 77, sorry. Nazim in again, and this time as touch of inside edge as Duckett works the ball out behind square through the slit cordon. They take a single. It's fielded by third man running round.
Through the leg slip cordon?
Yeah, exactly.
That's gone on the leg side.
It's gone on the leg side, down at fine leg. He's a left-hander. Yeah, it doesn't seem that easy to hit boundaries, does it? Maybe 159, whatever, is a reasonable score. 58.
I think, but England have the advantage here because they know what they're going after, and they're not trying to get as many as they possibly can. So I think England still have the advantage here.
Nazim in once again. That workman-like run up back of a length this time, and is flat forward of square by Hales out to the deep cover boundary, beats the diving fielder for 4 runs.
It's
That's a
me,
good shot.
says she.
Nailed that.
It's me, says she.
Really thrashed it hard, didn't he? And made sure he got his wrist through it to get it in front of square.
Yeah,
maybe the fielder should have done a bit better, I think.
Yeah, the fielder should have done a bit better, but also, as you say, it was the placement as much as the power in that
Nice
shot.
work, nice placement, and as you say,
That's why we've missed
getting
him.
his hands through the ball. He's a very, very talented player, is Hales. Nazim in again. This time Hales just watches the ball onto the bat as he opens the face, looking to run it down through gully. It's fielded on the bounce by deep backward point, a wide third man if you prefer, for a single, bringing Ben Duckett back on strike to face the penultimate ball of the over.
I don't know if you're going to... I've got a feeling you might be going to say the same things as I was, that it makes you think, on the basis that Duckett was brought into the squad for the final test against South Africa, if Hales comes back and does well in one
Nazim to the left-handed Duckett, who cannot beat mid-wicket as he looks to find space and work the ball out through the leg side. No run.
In the new...
A bit constipated is Duckett.
Stokey Cullum trademark era, has Hales potentially got a test chance, even though he's not playing red ball cricket?
Well, I was going to say...
Is that what you were going to say?
No, well, I wasn't. I was going to say I read an article and I didn't realise he's given up one-day cricket as well. He basically just is a T20 mercenary now.
Nazim over the wicket to the left-handed Duckett to complete the over. It's another full toss. Duckett clips the ball past short mid-wicket. It's fielded by mid-on running round for a single, completing the over. England 63 for 2. They need 96 or 72.
We'd
expect a chasing side to get there with only 2 wickets down.
You would? I would. Jay Grover says, "Oh Lord, much as I dislike Duckett, I do love that jingle. Not only do Bear and Leah do maths, they also do psychogeography." Population density, says Farong, lived in Dhaka, Jakarta and Gwangju, Cantonese, or Canton, which have a few million in each city. I think Greater London is about 15k per square mile rather than square kilometre, but square mile's not going to be that much bigger, is it?
It's quite a lot.
Square miles more, I think it's 3 square kilometres, isn't it?
Basically.
As this time, there's a big shout. Dead ball has been signalled. Duckett, what on earth happened there? Did he not?
He didn't release the ball.
He didn't release because Duckett had premeditated a reverse. As this time Duckett does not reverse and instead plays an orthodox cut just behind square out to deep point for 1. 64 for 2 off 8.1.
Jay Grover makes a reasonable point. I think McCullum is proper mates with Morgan, so Hales is not getting anywhere near. Well, yeah, I think that'd be disappointing really. And we're not convinced by Crawley or Lees, are we? Really at the top?
And, I mean, that's kind of what put me a little bit off Owen Morgan as well. Was his
As once again, this time Hales looks to premeditate, and once again Usman Khadir pulls out in his delivery stride, refusing to deliver until the batter has settled. He's just changing position a touch too early, giving him that opportunity, or maybe the attempt is simply to unsettle him as he bowls. Khadir in at the 4th attempt to bowl the second ball of the over.
That's a shot.
Hales goes down on one knee, looks to play the slog sweep. It is fielded on the bounce by the fielder at kind of deepish mid-wicket for just a single off that. Brings Duckett back on strike, 65 for 2. 2 balls into the 9th over. Duckett back on facing from Kadir. This time he does reverse. This time Kadir does not pull out. The ball goes no further than the backward square leg area. It's fielded running round for just a single.
I've said this
a lot
before.
of effort into just scoring singles, aren't they?
Yeah, but when England play, you notice that England are so much more adept or so much more willing to play the reverses, the ramps, than a lot of other sides.
Kadir into Hales, who drives. He smashes the ball into the stumps. Did it go? It's
into the bowler.
Something seemed to cut. Something seemed to fly.
I thought I saw some bails.
I thought I saw Bales as well.
I think it was some sunglasses from the. He was shitting himself.
Yes, it was sunglasses.
It was indeed sunglasses.
I think it was a watch.
It was a catch, wasn't it? Effectively.
Yeah, it was a catch, but
yeah, he's dropped him.
He was travelling a little bit, you have to say.
It was.
Hales isn't getting a lot of strike, is he? I mean, he's 25 of 18, but he doesn't seem to be facing that
52 balls bowled.
Usman into Duckett, who looks again to play the slog sweep. It can't quite get hold of it. It bounces once, twice, and is fielded by the deep backward of the square, who's just come up to the square leg boundary. Will they get back for 2?
No, just the 1.
No, they got back for 2.
Oh, they got back for 2.
They got back for 2
They got back
because
for
it was a
2.
misfield. But what I will say is this boundary is so short that it's really difficult to actually get 2s, even with misfields.
There's a lot of spin on that ball by the time he'd miss-hit that slog sweep. Duckett again to face the final ball of the over. Reverses, it squirts up in the air over the wicket-keeper's head and rolls away to the long stop boundary for 4 slightly streaky runs.
That's what you need.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary.
Yeah, it's curious, isn't it? You sometimes get this situation where you've got a guy who's batting well, but he just can't get the strike in T20. And, you know, at the end of it, you look at him and he's only got 60 or 70, and you think, hang on. But then if you look at the number of balls he's bowled, it may only have been 35 or something like that. Anyway,
88 needed off 66. That means England have to score at 8 and over for the next 11.
which is pretty much what they started at.
Yep.
Brian Barish says, miles are bigger than kilometres. Suck on that, England. Farong says, I enjoyed the GC version of Sesame Street lesson number 23, Geography and Geometry. And Jeff Perkins says, square mile should be more like 2 square kilometres. That's what I thought. It's about 1.6, isn't it?
Times 1.6.
No, yeah, but you multiply 1.6 by 1.6 and you get pretty much double.
Okay. All right.
In
Fair
fact,
enough.
more than double, because the square root of 2 is about 1.4.
Yes.
Jay says, I've mentioned my atavistic fear of Morgan before. Hale's treatment was silly, but in a different milieu, people would have...
Ralph back in, and Hales just works the ball out to the 3rd boundary for a single. Opens the face there, lets the ball run out safely. Sorry, Hendo.
74 for 2, 9.1 overs, so it's around about the same rate as Pakistan were. But I say they've lost a couple more wickets, but then wickets did fall, didn't they?
They've lost a couple of wickets, but they know exactly what the target is.
Yes, it makes a big
why
difference.
England like to chase. It's why so many limited overs sides, and increasingly white clothing red ball sides also like to chase. Ralph in again round the wicket to the left-handed Duckett. Times the ball beautifully. Still can't beat the cover sweeper. They amble a single. Don't think there was 2 on if they'd run the first hard. But at some point they'll have to start trying for those.
Jake over says, my flat is approximately 2.5 gorilla shower curtains. Yeah,
that's huge.
You do need it. Yeah, they you get value for your
you do.
coin. Going to redbubble.com, he says, trying to flog other things. I've tried to flog Patreon this afternoon, but no one's bit.
Ralph back over the wicket to the right-hander. Hales looks to pull as a touch of top edge as it clears the square leg umpire and is fielded on the 2nd bounce by the deep square leg. 1 run.
Due a change at the end of this over.
Oh God, already. I need to go and take the lid off the chicken that's in the oven in order to brown it.
Yeah, so it's interesting to know what people are doing
Only
while
15 minutes
commentating. Well, it's better than 15 minutes early, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, Jess went out and said, take the lid off at 10 to 6, and I said, well, I will if we get to the 10th over, end of the 10th over by then. But yeah, 3 balls left. Let's hope it's not going to be too overdone as Ralph round the wicket to Duckett, who works the ball off his hip out towards the deep mid-wicket sweeper. Just the one again. 4 off this over, given that Ralph's first over went just for 3. England are playing him circumspectly, but with somewhat more positive intent than was the case last time round. 2 balls left in this, the 10th over. England 77 for 2. They need 82 off 62. Ralph in. This time it's speared down the leg side. Hales looks, can't make more of it than just to squirt it out to square leg, just backward of square for the single. 1 ball remaining in this over and in my commentary spell.
Whilst we have a changer, I'll let you know what Atif's doing on Friday. Thursday to raise money for relief in Pakistan.
Presumably this pause is just, we're being shown some joshing in the commentary box of the Sky team between Butcher and others who has been allowed out there. But presumably it's because they are resetting the field for the left-hander as Duckett looks to back away, and then as the bowler follows him, works the ball out off his hip to long leg. They come back for 2 after a misfield. England 80 for 2 after 10. They're scoring at exactly 8 and over. They require 79 off 60 balls.
Presumably Wazim and Waka are giving shit to Butch about when they bowled him. Anyway, we're going to do a change.
I shall fuck and take the lid off the chicken that's in the oven, let it crisp up before I have an hour with my psychotherapist.
Okay,
at 6:30.
lovely. Here comes
Atif. Hearing you.
Hello everybody, Atif Nawaz here inviting you to Stand Up for Pakistan, a very special stand-up comedy show at the Hackney Empire in London on the 21st of September. There'll be performances from Asim Chowdhury, Kay Kurd, Milton Jones, Nabil Abdul Rashid, Noreen Khan, Shazia Mirza, Tez Ilyas, Ishan Akbar and myself. All proceeds from the evening will go to the Disaster Emergency Committee, who are supporting relief efforts in Pakistan following devastating flooding in the country. Tickets are £20. See you then.
And that's tomorrow night for anybody interested in catching up with the ever-smiling Atif Nawaz and putting some money towards the flood relief for Pakistan. Hello, Tony. Welcome back.
Thank you very much indeed. I was just hoping I'd get the bear to sort out our visuals on YouTube, but I'll have a crack at doing it. It should be a 2-person Zoom. Actually, why isn't it doing that already? Oh, it is. It's sorted. We were just waiting for James to appear. That was all. Hello, welcome back, James.
Well, thank you. Good to be back. Good from England so far, I think.
Well, I think so. I mean, they're up with the run rate. What do they need? About 7.9, and they're going at about 7.9, which is, I suppose you could argue about where they need to be, really, couldn't you?
Yeah, they're going to go about it.
Required run rate is 8.
I think
they're
they
going
look
at 7.9.
confident. Do you know they're playing it in a kind of like that term that we can't use anymore with England, Test cricket. They seem to be playing smart cricket.
Well, Hales gives the impression of sort of slightly playing within himself. Perhaps losing those 2 wickets hasn't necessarily helped. If you are just joining us, 158 for 7 is what Pakistan made in the power play. They made 51. England got to the power play 47 for 1. They have lost Salt for 10 and they lost Milan for 20. Pakistan's innings really was going rather well up to that point. And then all seemed to fade away. 68 for Rizwan, 31 for Babar Azam, 28 for Iftikhar Alam, and frankly, really not a lot else.
Yeah.
So it was a curious innings in some ways from Pakistan.
I can also report that Australia just beaten India by 4 wickets with 4
Hauled down a fairly big total there, didn't they? Can you keep an eye on the Lancashire score? Last time I looked, they were 17 for 6.
Yeah, it's crazy. They were 12 for 6 at one point, weren't they? It's utterly.
They might be staging a recovery now, but
they're 25 for 6 now, so they're
they're zooming along.
Interestingly, Australia had a new combination opening. They had Cameron Green playing in his only his second T20 International Open, and made 61 from 30 balls. Wade made 42 from 18, something 45.
Usman Khadir is in, and he's bowling to Hales, who has to reach outside of his off stump and sort of carve it rather low away towards deep cover where it's fielded in front of the sponge. It will get him a single, and it'll bring Ben Duckett back in the fold, back in the England fold, back onto strike. Funnily enough, Jimmy Anderson, by the way, was who of course famously wore the glass of beer that Duckett shot through. Was the only England player currently playing who played last time England were in Pakistan. This one is swept by Duckett. And,
that's how long ago it was, isn't it?
It was. Yes, it was indeed. It was a long time ago, and I can still remember.
But it's interesting to see this. I mean, I'm hoping they both have a calming effect on each other as Notts boys. But Hales does often start quite slow.
Well, there is that familiarity. This is pulled from outside of his off stump, and it's been dropped in the deep. An absolute horror story. Usman Khadir looks at that, and who was guilty of that? I'm trying to see who made the drop there, James.
I can't make out actually,
but I'm afraid it was pulled from outside of off stump by Hales. It was up, he kind of top edged it, looked pretty straightforward into the bread basket, which had a great big hole in it, and onto the ground it dropped. And Alex Hales has got himself a life there, quite possibly one he didn't deserve, but he celebrated it. Or Duckett, in fact, has celebrated by pulling the next ball away for 4. So they obviously ran a single, ran probably 3 actually. Are we looking at the drop? This one was slightly fuller from Usman Khadir.
That was
Duckett
was first sweep.
Away to deep mid wicket, and 4 it is. In comes Usman to the left. It's another reverse sweep which he doesn't get hold of. Big shout for LBW from. And given by Aleem Dar. Aleem Dar puts up the finger. The reverse sweep worked brilliantly the first time, failed miserably the second, and it looks to me as though Duckett will have to go. He's reviewed, so we will wait and see what comes of that.
It's what you want from your mate, isn't it? He's talking to Hales about it, and Hales is all he's giving him is shoulder shrugs.
You might as well. Don't ask me, mate. I've got no idea.
Yeah, I'm just trying to play my way back into the team.
As you rightly say, some familiarity with these two playing together. Do they both play for the Trent Rockets as well as?
No, Duckett plays for Welsh Fire.
Oh Lord, does he? God help him. That to me looks
out.
to me about as plumb as you can be, and in fact caught him on the plums, I think.
Unless
but he was really crouching low. There's no ultra
no
edge. He's worn it on the thigh, basically in front of middle stump, and I'm not sure what Duckett thought his reason for reviewing was, but I cannot see Aleem Dar doing anything other than going, "You are toast, Ben Duckett."
Maybe when you play with Stuart Broad, it affects you.
Well, it could be that. It's superb.
That's as plumb as you get.
Review is lost. All red. Duckett has his helmet pushed back on the top of his head. Aleem Dar, as if to say, "Well, I told you," raises his finger
halfway
once
up
again.
The middle stump. Jesus.
Yeah,
it was.
Dar looked almost furious there that he was questioned on something so obvious.
Well, to be honest, I don't honestly blame him. I mean, it was such a ridiculous review. But Duckett is gone for 21. He's been bowled by Usman for that 21. We're going to see Harry Brook, who is an exciting prospect. He's obviously made his Test debut now, and he's certainly very much at home in this format. And he's going to
and in Pakistan in this format as well, yeah.
Well, indeed, he's going to face the leg breaks of Usman Khadir. Some family he comes from, doesn't he, Usman Khadir?
Incredible.
Son of Abdul Khadir, of course. His brothers Ulman and Suleiman play for Islamabad and Lahore, respectively. And of course, he's the brother-in-law of Umar Akmal.
It's astonishing, isn't it? I love the stories about Abdul Khadir, how he trained him as a young boy. And he would almost use him like a marionette, just pulling his arms into the right position to bowl leg breaks.
Well, in comes Usman. Perfect leg break again. Definitely getting some movement there. Played in front of his off stump by Brook. Usman Khadir fields off his own bowling. Well, it didn't really cost them in the end, but did we figure out who the errant fielder was?
No, I don't think we did.
Shah Massoud.
Shah Massoud,
Magnificent
okay.
season for Derbyshire. I think he held a few for them. Certainly made a truckload of runs.
He did.
But he let one slip there quite horribly. But he will be relieved that it wasn't that bad. Messers.
Stuart Smith says, "Evening, guys. Great comms. I nearly cashed out on England at half time, but I kept the faith. Should do this now. How many of these matches in the series? There are 7, Stuart. So you've got plenty of chances to redeem anything
don't
you
you worry.
lose."
They just keep coming back, basically every other day, except for Thursday and Friday, which is back-to-back days. Think of it like the IPL, but the same two teams, same sort of brutal intensity, battering us commentators into submission. Onto the back foot goes Hales and guides Nawaz out to deep cover. They will take a single. So you've got an interesting combination this, James. You've got sort of the slow left arm of Mohammad Nawaz, and you've got the leg breaks of Usman Khadir.
I mean, this is what, for me. This is kind of what it's about when you're playing Pakistan, isn't it? That you have this tremendous kind of like you skillful variety of these two bowlers, and then throw in all the lovely quicks as well.
In comes Nawaz to Brook, who's onto the back foot.
But I think a key moment in this match now, when England turned to spin, it started to slow things down, didn't it? Before Wood came up and mopped things up.
I mean, Adil Rashid bowled beautifully.
Yeah,
Luke Wood.
superb.
In case again, if you're just joining us, we're referring to Wood. It's Luke. Luke of not Mark of Durham. That one is rather uppishly played backward a point by Hales. It gets himself a single. Back onto strike comes Harry Brook. Mohammad Nawaz, started playing cricket at the age of 14. Started as a medium-fast bowler, actually, did Mohammad Nawaz. Made Cricinfo's Asia Cup team of the tournament, took 8 wickets in 6 innings at an economy rate well under 6.
Excellent.
So that's pretty impressive, as this one is clipped by Brook towards mid-wicket. They take a single. Throw came in, I don't think there was ever a chance. Bit of a debate, Barbara Azam kind of going, how close was that? But to me that didn't look that close. We'll have a look. Well, he fields off his own bowling pretty quickly.
Ooh.
Well, I'll take all that back. Had that hit, then that would have been the end of Harry Brook, wasn't it?
It's a lovely piece of improvisation there.
Nawaz in again, left arm around.
But unfortunately, he just threw far too wide when he threw it, wasn't it? But beautiful instinct.
Yes, it was. Hales he's playing sort of an anchor role here. It's certainly not been super aggressive. Of course, they need 68 off 49. It's a very manageable equation. But you wouldn't want to lose too many more wickets. This one's
I think that's it. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. They've got enough wickets in the bank, and actually the run rate is manageable enough that they can just keep this ticking with the spinners at the moment.
Well, the current run rate, they're going at 7.69. They need 8.32. I mean, it's all entirely manageable with the hitting that England have.
Yeah.
But you just, add a couple of wickets, you just never know. Messers.
Yes, indeed. So Leah says yes, she misread it. It was per square kilometre. Sorry, square mile. 15,000 per square mile for London. Warren says next up on comms, Josh's therapist and his chicken. Yeah, I was a bit disturbed that after a couple of sessions with us, he needed to go to his psychotherapist.
Well, it's his psychotherapist I feel sorry for, I've got to be honest, as this one is slammed away out towards cover. But there is a man on that deep cover boundary, and we'll just restrict them to a single.
And is Usman, do we think Usman is being super clever bowling that line, or is he just struggling with line?
Well, 2 for 27 off 3. 66 is what England need off 47. This one, that's a really good ball. He gives it plenty of flight and flicked away towards mid-wicket by Harry Brook. He'll get a single, takes him on to 3. Just signed for the Johannesburg Super Kings as Harry Brook in that auction to basically decide which IPL franchise in South Africa different players are going to go to. Outside of off stump, pulled away by Hales. There are 2 men converging from deep mid wicket and long on, and again we'll just restrict them to a single.
There was signs there of Hales getting frustrated, weren't there? Trying to make something out of nothing there.
He was, and Harry Brook didn't have the greatest of hundreds, I have to say. This one's full, and it was hit on the up. It was almost hit through his hands, but it was hit powerfully by Harry Brook, away straight over the bowler's head for one of these.
My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Again, he's looking for that flight, and he just kind of slipped that one slip, and it was a full toss, probably about 3 feet off the ground, and Harry Brook just leathered it back past Usman Khadir before. In comes Khadir again down the track. It was a better ball from Khadir. Brook though gets nicely to the pitch. Just a single on this occasion.
I know it's one match, but it does make you appreciate Adil Rashid, Moeen Ali, their consistency.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. 29 was his highest score. It was Harry Brook. It's Hales though who is facing. He's slaps this. Oh, and he slapped it through extra cover. And that was a very well. It's fielded. It was a missed at cover and fielded at extra cover, with a man backing up. Throw has broken the stumps, but I think they were comfortably home. Means that after 13 overs, England are 102 for 3. Brook is on 8, Hales on 36, and 57 is what England need off 42 balls. And I think these two just need to keep manoeuvring it and make sure that they don't drop behind the run rate, and it should, famous last words, be comfortable for England. Messers.
Jay says, people I wouldn't like to get stuck in a lift with after a night on the pop, number 261, Ben Duckett and Alex Hales. Armchair Cricket Podcast says, on his debut, Shan Masood has not covered himself in glory. That drop off Alex Hales looked like the result of a switched off mind. Muttley's with us, says, woof, evening all, just tuning in. Stumbled across a Polish shop today while out with a mate. Bought a load of sausage and bacon for the freezer. Love and, well, sausages.
Yeah.
Since it's a picture
round
of
the
them
wicket
too.
comes Nawaz, steered to mid-wicket by Harry Brook. He is playing pretty sensibly.
Yeah.
It's there to be hit. He's hit, but he'll happy contents himself there with just a single. Brings her the prodigal Alex Hales. Would he be the prodigal Alex Hales were Owen Morgan still ruling the roost? I rather think not. That one's dragged a bit short. Hales steps back, slaps it towards extra cover, but straight to extra cover, all the way along the ground. Gets a single. Again, they're working it in singles, these two.
Yeah, and we're just starting to see some fumbles from the Pakistan team, aren't we, in the field?
Did you say fondles?
Fumbles.
Fondles or fumbles?
It might be my accent. Fumbles, as in...
He said it again.
Errors, not fondles.
This one's a bit edgily guided towards a short third man. For some reason, we're watching a giant washing machine. Why on earth are we watching a giant washing machine?
They love branding themselves up here, don't they? They cut away. They have 1,000 branded moments, and now we're actually watching a washing machine in action.
Well, we're watching Nawaz, so presumably he's on spin cycle. As this one is guided away towards mid-wicket. Again, it's a single. 104 for 3.
But turns out it's the power wash challenge. You've had the power play, now you have the power wash challenge. I don't know what the challenge specifically is. It looks like there's some cricket whites in there with a red flag. That could go wrong.
Well, yes. Why we're having to watch
thing
it,
to
I
do
don't
in the
know.
middle of an over.
Well, yes, completely around the wicket comes Nawaz. This one is again really pushed, guided, caressed almost away to long off. once more, not really powerful intent. Just a single. England happy just to work their way to a victory here if they can.
Slightly similar to the Pakistan innings, isn't it? It starts off great guns and then it slows down.
Yep, the graph is almost identical.
Interesting.
Really? Yeah.
Onto the back foot goes Brook. Again, it's working. It has the feel of the middle overs of an ODI.
Yes, it does. It really does.
Rather oddly. The only difference is England very confident, I would imagine, that they're well and truly up with the rate or keeping parallel with it. 52 is what they need off 36. 14 overs complete, 107 for 3. Messers chortling Messers.
Muttley says I would have tuned in earlier, but I was having an afternoon nap to sleep off the food coma. Farong says Usman Khadir only played one match in the Asia Cup. Didn't impress me. Pretty certain he went for 40 from his spell. It was actually 32. One good ball per over, and the others were shite. But we all know shit gets wickets occasionally. And Jay says, I'm proper confused. I proper heard Fondles. I'm confused.
Well, I heard for Fondles as well. I won't ask James to say it again. That would just be embarrassing. But
I think it'd be embarrassing for anyone who thought it meant fondle.
There were definitely fondles taking place in the outfield with the Pakistan team, and I was going, well, that's no wonder. I mean, I know it's all been rather a friendly atmosphere so far. Back into the attack comes Dhani, 1 for 19, but he's been ramped by Harry Brook. An absolutely superb shot. Did that travel the distance? No, it was.
I think it did. Did it just? They're saying it might have bounced just
marginally
before.
Short, but it was superbly dealt with by Brook for one of these.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary.
He's enjoying himself here, isn't he? He's all smiles and relaxed body language.
Brook or Hales?
Brook. I think Hales seems more contained and tense.
Yeah, no, he is the real deal, and I think there's going to be a lot to be seen from that particular young man. Dhani again full on middle stump. Brook steps back, looking to drive through extra cover, but straight to extra cover on this occasion. Just a single once more. I think we've said that a few times, but they don't need to do much more than that.
And Dhani, when he got his wicket, did Dhani do one of his magnificent celebrations? I missed it.
I didn't. I've got to admit, I didn't see that. I was too busy getting our maximum socialised that we've allowed out into the wild briefly for just this one episode, so people who aren't patrons can get a flavour of it. You can go to our website to see it. You can catch it on our social media feed. Dhani in. And this one, Hales was full on him. And they might get an overthrows here. Are they going to run for an overthrow? Yes, they are. It was all a messy cricket from Pakistan. Mohammad Rizwan looks fed up. Dhani, who, how can I say this kindly? He has some prominent facial features.
He has a distinctive look, shall we say?
He does have a distinctive look. Yes,
He's got
definitely a certain charm, though.
Do you know his late father was against his desire to become a cricketer? Wanted him to become a government official. Well, I think cricket's gain, government's loss. There's Dhani, right arm over, full again. That is a full toss, and Brook, who was I think looking to haul that over extra cover, has instead edged it very fine down to third man for one of these.
1, 2,
Yes.
3, 4.
I think if you want to know what a batsman was actually attempting to do versus what actually happens, watch what his head does after the ball's been struck. And in that particular case, he was clearly eyeing up the inside out shot over extra and ended up jerking his head round to see where it had gone. Down to third man is the answer to that. 117 for 3. 2 balls left of the 15th over. 20 for Harry Brook. 39 for Hales. Dhani is in. This one's fuller and straighter and just steered by Hales to mid-on.
There's a lovely story, isn't there, about Dhani, that when he's finally picked for Pakistan, that he hears, and then the first thing he does is he goes to his father's gravestone to tell him in tears that actually it all worked out.
That's a fantastic
really touching
story. Somewhere, I hope his dad from beyond the grave didn't say, "I told you, you should have become a government."
Well, you won't mount to anything. You'll be stuck playing T20s.
What's happening with that run rate? England are ahead of it now. They've just... No, they haven't. They're bang on. At current run rate. Yes, they are. They've just shaded ahead of it.
Yeah.
7.95 is the current run rate. 7.93 is what they need. Outside of off stump, slapped back past Darney for 4 runs by Alex Hales. He'll move on to 43 off 34. England will move on to 122 for 3. We are due a change in the comms box. I can see a man of enormous wisdom, wit and eloquence. It's none other than Hendo, who's got his mask on.
I've had my mask on all day. I've had it on all day, not actually over my mouth, so that's not much point. It's just for going into...
it's a chin strap.
Just for going into shops, basically.
It's a Hendo chin strap.
Well, it could be that, yeah.
And Tony, your next tweet is from Leah.
Super.
Although I will say Farong heard fondles as well, but I think it says more about the listener than the speaker.
I prefer fondles anyway. It gives a whole new sense of what might be occurring.
Well, that's only what he said when I got into his car earlier
Karachi
today.
outfield.
Well, you prefer fondling, did you say?
Yeah, I did. They were fondling in the outfield. I got him to say it twice, and it still said fondles.
122 for 3 England, chasing 159 to win, so what they need, 37 with 5 overs. It should be plain sailing, shouldn't it? But we've seen teams get into ridiculous situations. I don't think England are going to, but...
No, I don't think they're going to screw it up like Pakistan did. I mean, they've got 7 wickets in hand.
Yeah, it'd be
and
strange.
it's literally 6 sixes, isn't it?
Naseem Shah, Ian, bowls a short one, a slower one to Harry Brook, who just leans back, lets it come on, helps it on its way down to long leg, and that is 4 runs.
That was a good shot. Picked the gap, didn't he?
It now seems that we're getting speeds from the speed gun at various points of the ball's trajectory.
I was saying that earlier in the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you look at the release speeds of the Pakistani bowlers and the release speeds of England's. The 3 left armers that England had, they all released it at roughly 136 to 138 kilometres an hour.
Right.
All of them.
Naseem in again, shorter ball, and this one was a quicker one, but Brook spots it and just this time guides it down to the gully area where he'll take a single. He's moved on to 25 from 26 from 16, so good, going at a good rate. Hales has faced only 34 balls out of 92, but he's managed to get himself to 43. Might even get himself a 50 on his return after 3 years to the England fold. He's facing for now. How old is Naseem Shah? He was very young when he first came into the team, wasn't he? 17 or even
Something
16.
like that, yeah. That was
he's in again. And Hales, well, I don't know what he was doing there. He was messing around at the crease. He went over to the offside, then leaned back to the leg side, got a slower bouncer, and in the end completely missed it. So I suppose you say good bowling. Release was 122, and it arrived at 121.
Didn't Naseem Shah play first when he came over in that? Wasn't it the COVID tests, wasn't it? Or was
I think it was. I think you're right. Yeah, I think it was the COVID tests. But there was a lot of chat around him, wasn't it, because he was so young. 127 for 3. Hales 43. Brook 26. Hales it is facing. Just having a little look around, twiddling his bat.
He's 19, Naseem Shah.
19
he first
now.
played for Pakistan.
He's in
16.
again. Slower cutter, but that is of no concern to Hales. He goes back, waits for it, and then punishes this delivery by thrashing it away through extra cover for 4 runs.
Back of the hand.
That was a back of the hand job. I thought it was the off cutter, but it was the back of the hand job.
Stop it!
After all the talk about fondling.
What is going on? I was hoping for a semblance of respectability when you came back, but it's got worse.
No. Do you know, this game's going to finish early, so I was thinking, I'm tempted to go to the Wimbledon Papa John's Trophy match tonight. Naseem full, dug out by Hales. He's going to take himself another single. He'll go to 48. Score to 132 for 3.
Papa John's is sponsoring football now.
Papa John's Trophy.
That's genius.
We played Aston Villa under 21s.
Do you get free pizza?
No, unfortunately not. I don't know what happens if you get to Wembley. Maybe you get all the pizza in Wembley. I don't know. But I'm sort of half tempted now because I think I'll be sort of getting back around that time. But I haven't got
how fast I drive.
Well, there's that, but I haven't actually got anything. I haven't got a jersey to put on. That's the other thing. Naseem bowls, driven aerially by Brook. Is there someone back there? No, there isn't. It's one bounce. Lovely stroke. 4 more runs. England are doing this at a canter.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That was a lovely shot.
Well, look at that. Not only does he go back into his crease, but he goes back and outside his leg stump. So he turns that into a ball that he can play an orthodox drive to, really. Or that said, an aerial one. So in total control of the delivery. And beautifully put away. He's 30 off 17. Hales 48 off 37. England need another 23 from 24 balls.
How old Harry?
Jay Grover was not happy with my use of the word caress. But he doesn't really explain why. Leah says they're mocking the Russians. We may be an overpopulated mess with a humanitarian catastrophe on our hands, but at least we have washing machines. Yep, Farong definitely validates it was fondles to his ears, he says. Martley says also bonus points to whoever gets this Halloween reference, a leather wristband I modified for when I am off to metal or rock gigs, and he's included a picture, but I'm not quite sure what it's a reference. It's got a bunch of keys on it.
No, you lost me on that one.
Yeah.
England need 23 off 24 balls. They've got 7 wickets in hand. It ought to be a successful start to their first Pakistan trip in 17 years.
Last time we got battered, didn't we?
Yeah.
In the tests we got battered, and I think it was it 3-2 in ODI, something like that. And T20s hadn't been, well, they had been thought of, but they hadn't been
not played,
added to that particular tour. Ralph wobbles his way in and it's pulled by Hales. He was already outside leg stump. He followed him, but to no avail. He's still got the run. He'll pick up a single, goes to 49. England 137 for 3. 22 required off 23 balls, and all very satisfactory indeed for the tourists, has to be said.
Yeah, it's looked all right, hasn't it? Apart from the power play and our bowling, which looked pretty shite, to be honest.
Well, it'd be interesting to see how the conditions vary, whether they play on the same pitch. I mean, they've got another game on Thursday, another game on Friday.
They've got 4 games here and 3 in Lahore.
Yeah, 4 here, which takes us up to Sunday, as Ralph is in. He's into his 3rd over. Down the leg side, just tickled, nice timing, a glance really from Brook. Goes down very quickly to the man at long leg. They take a single. He goes to 31, brings Hales back down for a chance to claim another T20 50, and there have been a goodly number in his international career, but not for some time, obviously, because he's not been out there.
Yeah, it's good to have him back, to be honest.
It is. I mean, we're talking about the smacks of him earlier. I wrote a piece a couple of weeks ago about you've got to expect Hales to be in this squad, and then the next day they added him, and of course it looked like I was just following, but actually I was well ahead of the game. He tries to pull this one, does Hales. I wasn't 100% sure that he got bat on it, maybe more glove than anything, but it's gone down very fine. 4 runs and 50 for Hales.
2 + 2 is a remember.
Goes to 53.
Drawn out grinds and flashing cameos, quite accumulation that just grows and grows. Lucky or lucky, inducing reverie.
Stop playing footsie with me.
Smashed by Hales. He's had enough now. He's going to get out. He's going to be caught at mid-off. Horrible shot. Really ugly, but he's quite happy with his 53. England's management will say, no, stay out there, get the job done. He hasn't. He's made 53 from 40. England 142 for 4. Gone onto the back foot. We're trying to force it over mid-on, I think, and rather leading edged it up to mid-off.
He's done the job, though, hasn't he?
Well, he has. You'd say he has, but we have seen strange things happen.
Yeah,
we have.
The T20 Blast final was a very strange one, wasn't it? When Lancashire should have walked it and managed to find defeat from the jaws of victory.
Lancashire.
They were 7 for 6, were they not?
I thought you said that was Essex.
What's the score now?
They're doing it. Absolutely. Well, at the stumps they were 25 for 6.
Oh, what a recovery! What a recovery! That's so we've had 26 wickets there on the first day.
5 for Harmer, 5 for whatever for Harmer, I think.
But it wasn't just spinners. So I mean, the pitch in general just seems to be of low quality.
No, I'm lying. He got 5 in the first innings. Who's taken the wickets in the second innings?
Cook got some wickets in the first innings as well, didn't he?
Yes.
Anyway, the England captain for this leg of the tour, anyway, has come to the crease. Moeen Ali, coming in at number 6. Got a jingle that goes something like this.
Arbitral touch, move over Amlo. I like it too much. Move over Amlo. You're one hairy.
The hairy dish tries to pull the ball. He's lucky not to drag that down onto his stumps. Very close indeed. Bottom edge. It scooted through to the wicketkeeper. But that wouldn't have been a very happy Moeen had he got out first ball as captain for England in Pakistan. Harris Ralph has just changed his approach a little bit. He doesn't seem to sort of weave and wobble quite as much as he did.
He runs on a spot at the start now.
I really need to get sort of YouTube footage and put it alongside, or have a look at it one after the other to work it out. He's got one ball of this over to go, 1 for 15. He's round the wicket, and there's a rather airy drive played by Moeen Ali. I'm not sure whether he got an edge to that. But if he did, it still dropped short of Mohammed Rizwan. In fact, it did. So he's got a single. He's got off the mark. England have 143. 3 overs to go. They need 16 to win.
Jeff Perkins, no wonder Pakistan have missed some opportunities in the field if they've been busy fondling. Muttley von Erich says, are his facial features as remarkable as Scotty Styrus? Well, one in particular is dominant, let's just put it that way. Jay Grover, being a Pakistani cricketer or a Pakistani government official, get higher at both and it gives you a 50-50 chance of being burnt in effigy. Jay Grover also says you must summon Annie by talking utter filth. Things you expect to hear from GC Radio, number 336 says for wrong, it was a back of the hand job.
Yes. Well, we know what sort of minds you people. We know where to pitch ourselves, put it that way.
Well, we do. Muttley von Erich says it's probably a rather obscure reference that only fans of the band will get. This is that picture. As a lover of good rock opera, when I got given the band with the ring on it, I knew I wanted to put 7 keys on it as a tribute to Halloween. Okay.
Onto the back foot goes Moeen Ali, facing Naseem Shah. He's going to bowl his final over. Unimpressive figures of none for 35. This one is just defended to extra cover. So England, even prepared to mop up the odd dot ball on their way to victory here. 143 for 4. Brooks impressed, 31 off 18. I imagine a pretty subdued crowd in Karachi. They began to get more subdued as the Pakistan innings rather faded away. Full ends up being a full toss, driven, and don't think the man from deep cover is going to get around to that. It's going to go into the boundary board for one of these. Another full toss from Naseem, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing England here, and they can have a few dot balls, get one through the infield. They need 4 of those, and they've got a draw, haven't they? Tie.
Yeah. Well, they want more than a tie from this
yes,
game,
of
from
course.
this position. So Moeen moves to 5 from 4, 12 required, and Naseem Shah is in again, short outside the off stump, just crafted into the offside towards the man on the cover boundary. They'll take a very easy single. 148 for 4.
I saw Harry Brooks, another one who's played in the PSL. Knows the scenarios, knows the pitches, knows the bowlers.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose how much does this help England in Australia?
Not a
lot.
It doesn't help at all.
But they do get 3 matches against Australia. Naseem in again. Brook gives himself room. He tries to uppercut that. Makes no contact, goes through the keeper. They do then get 3 T20s against Australia, and also I think a couple of official warm-up games. One of which was strange.
One of which is Pakistan.
Yeah,
because they'll be missing each other.
They'll be missing each other. They won't have had enough fondling for a while.
Exactly.
And
but I mean, it's not quite as bad as England's warm-up for the 2015 World Cup when they went to a monsoon-ridden Sri Lanka
for 7
warm-up.
ODIs. 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's horrendous that was.
Naseem bowls, full ball, just pushed neatly out to extra cover. He's a little bit slow off the mark. Diverts it to mid-off. They take the easy single. 149 for 4, England. I think that's going to go up to, yep. 1 ball remaining in the 18th over. Still need 10 to win. I guess the thing, if you're a Pakistan fan who've been waiting for this for 17 years, you can wait a little bit longer for a victory, can't you? You've got 7 matches. They've got a good chance of winning a couple of those at the very least, you would think. It's just which particular Pakistan and which particular England turn up on a given day.
Of course.
Defended to extra cover. They're going to absorb another dot ball, England there. The score remains 149 for 4. That's the end of the over. 2 overs to go. England need 10 more.
Jeff Perkins says, come on, Tony. Careless caresses sink bishops. Jay Grover says, news just in. Hales reports blind and smelling a thick black coffee this morning. He also says the strong black coffee were a reference to opium because explaining the joke always makes it funnier. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
We've done a lot of unfunny jokes today, haven't we? It's been the
we're still trying to work out the man with the orange head joke.
Yeah.
Which I'm sorry, I just don't get.
No, we don't get it. We didn't get it. We sat there, we looked at each other.
Someone thought it was the funniest joke ever, didn't they? How weird.
Well, everyone finds something funny.
This is true. You should never leave out anything funny if you're writing. Anything potentially funny, because someone will find it funny, even if most people don't. Ring of 4 on the offside, saving the single. Singles being saved won't be enough, though, as Ralph comes in for his 4th over, and that's beautifully played by Brook. Just waits for it to come on, then opens the face and caresses it with a sort of parting fondle down past the man.
You're getting them all in, aren't you? Caressing, fondling.
3rd man. That's a lovely shot, isn't it? That's a really good shot, and it's 4 runs.
I've realised what you were looking at me. You were waiting for a jingle, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary.
That was a lovely shot.
No sign of nerves from Harry Brook at all today, has he? He's looked, he's come out and he's looked the part.
Is he in a World Cup squad?
Yeah.
He is, yeah.
The man at short 3rd man goes all the way back to an orthodox 3rd man. It's horses, stable doors, bolted, that sort of thing. But really, Pakistan haven't got a chance here. He's in again, bowls to Brook, who turns this one neatly to deep square leg, thinking about a second. Moeen Ali starts, but then is sent back by his partner, so they just settle for the 154 for 4. 5 runs are required from 10 deliveries. Thoroughly professional performance from England, really.
Yep. I mean, if you win with over and over to go, I think in a T20 you pretty much walked it, haven't you?
Yeah. Interesting from Hales too. I mean, it would have been easy to really try and make a point and go super hard from the beginning, but he just seemed to pick the right ball to hit and generally played pretty sensibly until he did rather give it away after the 50, didn't he? Just as I was about to make the point I've just made, he literally got out.
Round the wicket, Ralph bowls a slower bouncer, and that completely foxes Moeen Ali. He's threw the shot far too early. Goes through a couple of bounces to Mohammed Rizwan.
Are England still wearing black armbands for Queenie?
I presume so. Well, they will do. They will do for the rest of this tour, to be honest.
Definitely.
On the basis that the games come so thick and fast anyway. 9 balls remaining, 5 required. Defeat for Babar Azam, who's Pakistan were put into bat after Moeen Ali called correctly. In comes Ralph, and he does him again. Swings through that one, and is done by the lack of pace, which goes through, takes the ball through to Mohammed Rizwan. So England are just teasing a little bit here.
Expected defeat. I think you need to qualify what you're saying a bit. 5 off 8, stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have indeed happened, and usually to England. So Ralph will be happy with his last couple of deliveries, which puts a little bit of pressure on England.
Buggy cam is branded.
What is the buggy cam? I mean,
that's the
thing that runs along the side.
Yeah.
But we've had it for years. Short, it cuts, doesn't really get hold of it, dribbles slowly towards cover, but they will get a single on this occasion. 155 for 4. 7 balls remaining, 4 runs required. Can Harry Brook do it in this over? Can he finish it without needing the final over of the England innings? Would be a nice way to finish if he could.
Get into the 40s, wouldn't he?
It will take him into the 40s, won't it? What's he on, 37?
I think so.
Ralph then with his final ball of the day. Could be the final ball of the day. He's in, bowls, no, just clipped. Past square leg. And they take the single. England need 3 from the final over their 156 for 4.
I'm going to jump onto YouTube. Easy Ollie's been saying I heard fumbles, but it may just be my 29-year-old ears. Adrian Bourne said Hales must play in the World Cup. He also says 3 commentators with glasses, Compo, Clegg and Sidekick. Which one's who, I wonder? There's a rather scary thought. 50 for Hales, yes. Jay Solanke. To be honest, Hales isn't in England's best 11. Is he? Question mark.
Oh, I'd have thought so. In T20.
And Robert Hawkins says best joke of the day was Lancashire's batting. Yeah, it wasn't great, although they've staged a minor recovery. Don't forget that. Although very
It's
minor.
massively disappointing as well, isn't it? I mean, you expect there's been so little 4-day cricket or even 5-day cricket this year, and you set off for Chelmsford, maybe expecting a really good game that lasts 3.5 days, 4 maybe, and then it's pretty much over by the end of the first day. It's almost like everyone's doing anything they can to ensure that we have less and less cricket of the long variety. Full ball, which Brook misses as he makes room for himself outside the.
Oh, it's getting tight
off
now.
stump.
3 or
England
5.
now need 3 or 5.
Stranger things have
Super
happened.
over, super over,
Oh,
super
fucking
over.
no way.
That'll sky Banjaks your chances of going to Wimbledon, though.
Yeah,
the
well,
Papa John's trophy.
I probably won't on the basis that I'm going to be too cold. Unless someone's got a jumper they can play me. 156 for 4.
Buy one on the way home.
Sneak into Primarks in Tooting. In comes the bowler again, full ball and lifted through extra cover with great aplomb. Dahari sees the ball speed away. England have won the first of 7
1, 2, 3, 4.
T20 internationals in Karachi. Not all in Karachi, but 7 matches in all. 4 of them in Karachi, 3 of them in Lahore. Pretty simple stuff in the end.
Yeah.
Very professional, I thought, even though there wasn't much for the quicker bowlers. A little bit of turn for the spinners. Rashid bowled well. Lutwood ended up getting 3 wickets. He had the most impressive looking figures. But Pakistan just got bogged down after a really good start, Tony.
Yeah, they did. It was kind of interesting that they did get off to a good start. Runs for both Babar Azam and particularly for Mohammad Rizwan. But then there was only one other contribution in the entire innings, wasn't there? Iftikhar Alam with 30 odd. Whereas England sort of spread them out a little bit more. Hales was the glue that kept it all together. Shame he didn't last until the end. And although it was getting marginally, the bum was starting to squeak a tiny bit, it wasn't really going to have too big a problem. And sure enough, they made it with 4 balls to spare.
It's a good professional performance, but at the same time, England haven't really been tested, Bear.
No, not at all, really. I mean, you thought they were going to be, weren't they? When Babar and Rizwan went out at the top there, but Pakistan just really went nowhere very quickly with their batting. And at 150, I mean, it's a defendable score, to be fair. But with the start that they got, you thought they should have kicked on and they got more. They didn't score many boundaries. They just weren't able to break the shackles. They kept finding the fielder in the outfield, whereas you saw with England there, whenever it was, it's getting a little bit tight, they managed to find the boundary.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, the thing is, England have always, there's so many more players in England who are prepared to play the funky shots that you need in T20.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, actually. I mean,
you see it
is
often.
it just something about Pakistan? I mean, I think that's.
No, I've seen it against West Indies were very much like that, apart from a couple of players. Australia, I mean, they won the World Cup, actually. Australia, without many players who seem to do that, with the exception of the likes of Maxwell. But a lot of them are, you're either your power player or the people who find spaces, but you can kind of set fields for power players, because if they miss time, it's still going to go to the same part of the field, so you can stick a fielder there. Whereas if you're the type of player who's looking for the ramp or the whatever to find the space where the fielder isn't, that's where the boundary is. It's a difference in approach.
It is. Shall I do a couple of final tweets?
Do a couple of final tweets.
There were Jay Graber's picking up on the fact that people have different senses of humour. Case in point, he says, my mum finds the worst of cricket hilarious.
It is probably one of the I don't know, most ticklish tomes you could read. It's one of the most ticklish tomes you could read.
Ticklish tomes.
Ticklish tomes you could read, yes.
Joe, he also says cricketers would wear black armbands for my hamster. I think we can cut them some slack for the Queen. Muttley von Erich, who's clearly in Poland, says, thanks for the coverage, primates, love and Polish sausages.
Nice.
And Jay Graver just simply concludes with, thank you all very much, which is terribly restrained and polite.
Well, if anyone's still there, don't forget to become a Patreon, because you get all sorts of extra material. And if you want to go to our pinned tweet, you will be able to read our latest copy of the Smaximum, which is what goes to Patreons on a Friday. It's a bit of a laugh, it's a bit of fun, but it's also serious as well. So have a look at that. Sign up for the Bishop and Bear podcast, which is with the BBC's Atif Nawaz this week, and it'll be with Jules Farman for the coming week, which will be fun because she's just scored the England Test match, hasn't she? So that's all things that you'll get if you sign up to be a Patreon. Patreon.com/Guerrilla Cricket. No winners of the GPL today. I think the lowest score we had was 327, and we didn't get terribly close to that. On that basis, it's for us to say, join us again on Thursday, I think it is. We've got matches on Thursday, Friday and Sunday in Karachi, so they're coming thick and fast. They'll all probably look much like the other games, but we'll do it anyway. We don't care. We'll give it our best. So do join us on Thursday at about 3:20 BST, where you will be delighted that I think all three of us are back, are we not?
I think so.
Back? We're all back.
Yeah, I think we're.
Until then, it's goodbye from all of us.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara sang the Cara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin.